destiny, somebody you're supposed to be. Far from this small town, there's answers waiting to be found. So she lies awake, thinking there's been some mistake, crying her eyes out, begging for help. She's shouting, I want a new brain, I want a new heart. I'm sick of feeling, failing and falling apart.
Here we are. Welcome. Hopefully you'll be able to hear CP now.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You can hear me?
Welcome to Coffee and Contemplation, everybody.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Exactly.
Can you hear my voice? How are you?
Today we'll be exploring the complexities of the human body and what it actually means to be alive and what it actually means to have consciousness, and then we're going to also dig into the actual biology of it. Like our brains literally are a ball of cells.
Like my body.
Look, our bodies are where we live. Like the only person that you have to deal with 100% of the time is you and your own body.
Percent of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I want to talk a bit about that.
Okay.
Yeah. We're here. Coffee and Contemplation. We are now breaking ground.
So welcome on in. We've got new title cards we're talking about.
We are. I'm currently working on them while we talk because my week is now so packed. It's unbelievable. I just agreed to do full time at my job.
Okay, GG.
Everyone keeps saying congrats, but I'm losing time. You can't get time back. Like everyone wants to celebrate it, and I'm like, no, it's like money versus time. Time wins every time.
It's true, but your money can save you time.
I'm gonna see what I can do with that. That's a good mantra.
Or it can build something else so you can move to something else.
Right.
By getting increased money, you can invest it in your art or whatever, right?
Whatever.
So yeah, we've got a couple title cards. We're on the breaking ground now. I'll show you here in my window. They're a little hard to see with the glare, but yeah, this is the.
I got it up. I got it up on the screen too. So what he's holding up is the title cards that we're working on here digitally as well. There's Breath of Fresh Air.
I love that. I've been having so much.
That one's great. I love that. The Breath of Fresh Air is going to be the third segment. That's basically our palette cleanser that we were calling. Now we have a name for it. Breath of Fresh Air. And then the bonus segment is now going to be called Surfacing.
Okay.
And then here's our deep dive one.
That's pretty rad. Yeah, and I like what you did here. You put a bridge going down, right?
Yeah.
Which is practical, and in the Dig Dug world, he doesn't. He just goes rogue. He doesn't need bridges. He's a wild man, parkouring up the rocks, I guess. But I saw that, and you just gave me this great idea. I'm like, I'm going to build the mines and with all those bridges, like the Donkey Kong kind of builders. But yeah, that's a fun structure, dude.
Dreamers, you're
an idea.
Dreamers.
What?
How are you? Dreamers Arcade is my co-host, and I hadn't even done this. You're a VIP on the channel. I don't know why you weren't before.
What's up?
Oh man, I'm like, wait a minute. Storm of Iron's got the VIP tag.
Forget about me. It doesn't matter.
I don't matter, he says.
Like, what are these things? What are these badges that you're putting on us, huh?
Look, these badges. All right. We're now in Breaking Ground. Let's do.
Oh, we're going into it?
We're getting into it. So this is Breaking Ground. So what we got to do is we got to start. We got to break the ground somewhere, right? So this is what is biology, right? So it's the study of living organisms divided into many specialized fields. So we're going to basically go into human biology, though. So we type in human, and now it goes human biology. It's the study of human beings as a living organism.
At least he's got a university up there as a source.
Yes, we got. Well, actually, we do have like I try to check. So, what is an organism? Individual animal, plant, or single-celled life form.
Okay.
Then you go, what is a cell?
Smaller.
And we bring up this, right? So it's just a system of. What I find most funny about the cell is the mitochondria. This is going to blow your mind. The mitochondria is its own separate living organism that at some point in the cell's evolution decided, I'm just going to live in here because it works for us both.
That's domestication right there.
Yeah,
man.
so the mitochondria was technically the first domesticated animal.
That's the first capitalist. That's the first guy who said hunting and gathering is bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm going to just kill in the cell. On the cell block. Ooh, maybe it's a life-term sentence for Mr. Mitochondria. He's never escaping this cell, folks.
Oh, exactly. So the mitochondria is the reason that you can even wake up in the morning, and the reason that coffee even works at all.
Okay, so he's not just a victim of low socioeconomic status.
No, he it's working out for him. It's not necessarily capitalism. It's actually more like communism, because the mitochondria says, hey, I need this. And the cell's like, all right, I'll produce that. And the cell's like, I need this. And the mitochondria is like, all right, I'll produce that.
Trade-off?
Yeah, it's like a barter system.
Okay.
But what's so crazy about the mitochondria is that it is not natural to our cell system as it initially formed. Like that culmination of the mitochondria like allying with the cell is what sort of blasted off the evolution that led to human beings and mammals and all sorts of different things. I'm paraphrasing here because I'm not an expert in this, but like what I do know about the science is that like the evolution wouldn't have gone the way it did without the mitochondria joining forces with us.
Wild.
That's one of my favorite things about that part of the cell.
Seems like an accident. So now we get into the conversation that I had earlier, where it was like, is it fate or is it destiny? You know, like that's the conversation I was having with a technician, and why we had to start late today. I was saying earlier.
Well, we're kind of jumping the gun here because we're still on breaking ground. But you're right. There's it does draw up the questions of consciousness and agency.
Yeah,
it really does.
Like, is that like intentional, like part of the design, or is it just some happy accident? Pretty cool. Tell us, mitochondria. Reveal to us why you saved us, why you made us evolve. I hear crickets.
Sorry, Loader threw me off. It's the Alien Overlord Control Program. Look, Loader, we were just apes having a great time, right? And then an alien race came along and said, you know what, you guys could be smarter and you could work for me. And you could build my landing pads. So I'm going to genetically modify you to be much smarter creatures. And then I'm going to get involved in a galactic war and forget that I did this on this planet in the first place. And then I'm going to lose that galactic war and never come back. And then these humans are going to kill themselves over and over again in their own wars for hundreds of thousands of years. Always over the why they're there. So I just wanted to get that conversation out of the way.
Conversation. I can just beat it down.
Yeah, I'm like, you. We're not gonna fight about this anymore, guys. If anything happened at all, it's probably that, and we need to just get on with our lives.
That's just what I'm saying, because we're just gonna walk around in circles forever, guys.
No, I'm kidding. I don't know what actually happened. I just know that it's a miracle that we even get to experience the universe as it is at all.
I know.
Like, there's creatures out there that all they know is, you know, eat, sleep, and hunt, or eat, sleep, and eat plants.
Wasn't that us?
That's pretty much what we are, except now we have the why. We wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we just like we have all of that fear that every other animal has, but now we have anxiety on top of it.
We have to maintain it all.
Yeah,
We have
it's all
unlimited responsibility that has been inherited, and we take it lovingly. Like, we want it. I want to inherit the earth, and then we have to take care of it. And it's so you think the animals in that respect don't have
I think they have a blissful ignorance to the inner complexity of the universe.
Yeah.
I don't, it doesn't, I'm not saying they're stupid. I'm just saying that they don't need to know that stuff. And they also are probably better off for it.
I think a lot of it has to do with just these hands.
Yeah, these damn hands.
I mean, we're the benefactors of the long game. Like what is this? It's a remote control. You know, there's how many materials are there? And there's wood, polymers, elastomers, steel. There's different, but somehow there's only a few materials that are derived from biological nature. But somehow we have this.
Yeah.
So I think inherently that's what sets us apart is the long game. We have thumbs, and somehow we made all this shit. I mean, and maybe
it's thumbs, language, and social dynamics. Oh yeah, and the persistence. Our metabolisms also changed to give us an advantage.
Oh, okay.
Because we can persist much longer than most mammals. Like most mammals are sprinters.
Okay.
And we're marathoners.
Right.
So like some of the original hunting tribes would essentially tire out their prey. They would just continue to chase them until it got too tired.
Okay, now think ants. I know.
Yeah, ants. See, now ants are interesting because they are a macro. They're a macro organism.
Yeah, I love that shit, man. I've studied a lot of bees and ants.
They are very dumb alone, but once they get together, they do very complex things. But ants still do have they still lack the awareness because it's all coded. Like a gigantic hive of ants, I don't think would become aware. I don't think would develop anxiety. I can't imagine an entire hive of ants being diagnosed with depression. You know, like, oh man, that hive over there, that's a depressed hive. They need to they need to get into therapy.
Maybe they have like one singular consciousness.
Now Loader brought that up. Now think ants. That's a brilliant question. I'm not trying to say any of this matter of factly. I know my voice tends to have that tone to it. I don't know any of this. I just feel like it would probably be hard for a hive of ants to have that level of complexity. Like, the more complex something gets, the more it can break, and I think that's what's happened to our brains.
Well, that in like I wonder too, when you're talking about systems, and we're tooting our own horn here, but
yes.
we could very well be like headed to our own demise in the choices that we've made. It seems pretty obvious that we very well are with the way that we live here on Earth. So like, even though we've created a society that's far more advanced than my cat's society, right? I'd say that. But then I look at the detriment to us.
Yep.
In our identity and our existence. But then also, I don't have mummified ancestors in temples. Cats do. I mean, like, the history of cats is much more glorious than the history of CP and his family. So, that being said, history and legacy, I think the cats actually are more have a more profound existence. I think they get a lot more hits on the internet than I do. So there you go. And what really matters in life is really the question: who's really embracing life? And maybe these animals, we undermine them and think that we're the superior ones because we've controlled a working society. But the working society is probably a big detriment.
They can, yeah. Well, that's what I meant about I think Neil deGrasse Tyson put this way better than I ever could, where he said it's not about are animals dumber than us? Like that's a very black and white thing to say.
Yeah.
It's more of a gradation. Like it starts at the single cell, and the single cell is a single cell real dumb, like super dumb. Single cell can't do nothing without another cell bumping into it. It doesn't do anything other than die. Like, well, they also absorb minerals and chemicals from its environment, and it. Amoeba, yeah, single cell amoeba, kind of stupid without something to interact with. I'm talking about like on its own. And then you go up the ladder and you go amoeba. So cell, amoeba, and then you get multi-cell, then you get complex structured cells organisms, and then you're up to like plankton. Plankton starts to have way more agency. Plankton can smell. Plankton can they can sense their environment. There's plankton that can sense the sunlight. They have like the very basics of an eye. It's basically just a pocket that can sense the sunlight. And that's like the first eye actually was that. So that's where the intelligence starts to come in. Right now you have an eye, so you need something that can actually read that data. So now you have the beginnings of a brain forming, and you keep going up and up and up, and the complexity ramps up with all of that. So you get up to, say, a dog, right? And now the dog can be depressed. The dog can feel emotions, but it still lacks an awareness of the greater universe. Like it's still not human level. It's not dumb like an amoeba, but it's also not all the way up. Like maybe it does. Maybe it's just its universe. Because there was another conversation that was brought up to me recently of how our awareness of the universe doesn't make the universe before we were aware of it any smaller. Like the dog's entire universe might just be smaller in its mind. Like maybe it's only aware of the world, or maybe it's aware of the neighborhood. Like that's my tree. That's its universe. That's what it is aware of. And that's that's still very impressive. Like I'm not trying to say animals are dumb or lack feeling. I'm just saying that there's definitely a scale, and there's a point at which in that scale where that thing does not feel feelings because it just simply cannot. But also, I'm like,
that's interesting. What you said. I mean, we understand a greater, larger universe, but we're also in a way not part of that universe.
yeah,
Like just because I understand that the moon exists, I've never been on it. And it really doesn't, like, the science could have an impact on us here on Earth in time, understanding all this stuff. But would you say that there's a lot of significance in the fact that we know the extent of the universe in space, or even let's just say let's make it smaller. Like I live in a town. Like I don't know the entire state that I live in. Like, do I?
I know.
If I did, does that make my life better? Or
I've got a very personal response to this actually. I know more about our galaxy and our solar system than I know about my hometown.
Yeah, that you're a standard nerd.
Yeah, that's a pretty standard nerd thing. But that's also a very interesting human thought of like there are people that dedicate their lives to knowledge of something that does not affect their daily life.
Yeah, yes. So, speaking to that, I mean, there's a lot of Star Wars and certain things that I think I learned more about growing up than I did my real geography. I knew more probably Star Wars planets than I knew planets that we had in our solar system. And you understand what I'm saying? It's easy to learn a lot about a hobby or a pastime that maybe isn't super beneficial, but I did find one thing. I played a lot of role playing games, video games, and movies, all that, and I thought I might have wasted a lot of my time, and I realized no, that's just that's part of what we do throughout our lives and growing up. It's a form of play that extends into adulthood make your world bigger and get you ready for a larger world. But that being said, you can easily flip your concentration. So I when I got burnt out on some fantasy elements, like I will say at this point, I'm might be over a lot of things in my life. Things like I might be over Star Wars, guys.
Yeah, same.
I
I'm kind
might
of
just
over it.
yeah, and
Like I don't even like wearing my pajamas that have the AT-AT on them anymore. Like when you
oh yeah,
pointed that out at the artist retreat, I was like, "Oh, wait, I actually hate that."
you felt cringe.
I
You felt like
I felt cringe because I'm like, "Oh shit," and I'm like, "Oh, is this what growing up feels like?" I don't like it.
well, wait, you're in your mid-30s, right?
Yeah, I'm 34.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Well, here's the thing with me. The ADD treatment and figuring that out and the medication
Mhm.
change, I think had a big hit. So I will say I'm undergoing that right now, and there's a lot that's changing. So
That's true. So
that
Loader,
happened. That's happened around this time. So but I feel like there at your age there might have been a segue, but I mean I don't know. There's no time where they say you should give it up.
we
What's
really
Loader?
have. So Loader brings up an interesting point too. So man has become a lot dumber about the world around them and the things nature is telling us, such as the weather. And then,
Yeah,
like he's,
that was my point that
yeah,
I wanted to bring up.
I believe Loader is touching on that about how the more we try to learn about the greater world that doesn't actually affect our immediate surroundings, the less connected to our immediate surroundings we become. And like an incredibly intelligent person can make some very stupid choices because they're unaware of their immediate surroundings.
Yeah, it can be a life or death matter, and that's what gets into that old primal fight or flight that we all exist in. We're all on the same level with our animal buddies. But you brought up something, uh, Loader, that I was thinking when I started talking about if a cat or dog understood the concept of space, does that help them? My point is I watch animals and especially birds. You know when a storm's coming if you watch birds.
Oh yeah.
Birds know birds know when they're coming and where they're coming from. They know ahead of time. And a lot of animals do too. And you can figure things out by looking at animals if you're in a natural woodland area such as I. But so to that point, do with us knowing about space,
Yep.
like it's helpful if we're starting to turn our back on nature, which we very well are because we're not in tune with it. We don't know when the storms come. We don't feel energy. I mean, people can. You have to condition, but like when you got a phone in your face and you've created your own world, like how much are you present and what are you gaining and what are you losing? That's so who's right? Are the animals more connected to the natural world? Or are we getting connected to the larger conceptual cerebral world? But are we wasting our time? Are we driving ourselves mad? Are we destroying the biological world
Well,
we live in? Yes.
nothing is certain when it comes to stuff like that. But the like you brought up a very interesting thought experiment too. Like take a human and remove society from the human. Like some movies have played with this idea. So throw a baby in the woods
Dude,
and
yeah.
well don't actually I'm not condoning throwing babies in the woods. I'm saying
No,
if that human raises itself, like I feel like we've evolved to be very social creatures. So you'd have to do this with a family. You have to have the whole family for a couple generations live in the woods without society, and then see what happens to them.
there are cultures. There's I mean there's so many what South American and Asian,
That's
like
true.
African cultures that live completely different socially. There's a lot of tribal cultures, people that still have ritual practice. Yeah, and I don't know a lot. I'm interested in tribal culture, but I don't. That's something I'm not gonna like pretend like I know a lot of. But I
Yeah.
have seen. I've seen YouTube. I've seen YouTube videos of some of these cultures, but when you see it, it's fascinating because it's like, oh wow, yeah, this is like they're still doing the old world, and it seems kind of better sometimes. It seems harder, but there's a gain that yeah I feel like humans are missing out on connectedness to energy because it's been labeled too many different ways, and we're more apt to our society will also make us more apt to fight over what the name of that energy is.
Yeah.
So I think humanity is growing, and the society we've created is amazing. The culture and the contribution and the architecture and how we've grown and we understand our minds, but we're such babies. We really I don't think we have even a close understanding and about what life is, and we're too concerned, like I said, with the fight
Yeah.
over it and not the end. And I think I don't want to be negative, but I think humanity is a failed project, and that's okay.
We're
I
still
think
learning.
we're gonna do what we're gonna do, and we're going to screw it up for us. I don't think we're gonna destroy the Earth. I think we're going to destroy the Earth for us, and we might not be able to live on it, but in time, you know, there'll be another thing that whether that's aliens evolving the apes to build spaceships that Space Viking claimed to believe earlier. I
Gonna be
guess
cats.
I don't know where he was coming with that shit. But,
Cats are gonna take over. That
he been making alien shit.
that, that was me stomping down the fire that Loader was starting. So to speak. I'm just kidding.
How dare you, Loda?
It's like,
how dare you?
don't be bringing aliens into this when we're just in the opening segment.
Dude,
So I'm gonna dial it back a little bit. Speaking of,
look at this butt.
oh my god, that's brilliant.
Dude, it's hours, dude. I just stay up all night and I literally just keep drawing the ass, erasing it, drawing the ass, erasing it. I've rendered this ass for hours, and it's been so many different ones, but I've molded it in space. It's a beautiful thing. So
You have
we'll get to that in the deep dish. I mean, the surfacing,
the deep dish.
surfacing air
Are you?
around.
How hungry are you?
Huh?
How hungry are you, CP?
I'm never hungry during the day.
Okay.
Because I take medication that kills that.
Oh, I see.
So yeah, so that's difficult. So generally caffeine. I'm trying to get into a supplemental lifestyle, and that's ideal where I don't have to worry about it as much, and I'm utilizing like Space Viking. I didn't talk about our proposal for our year anniversary. You know, I've already got us figured out where we're gonna get in dudesy style the best shape of our lives. You know, we're gonna get down underground, rough, strong. You and I, and we can do a calendar. Sell on Patreon. Are you
So I am.
like,
I'm giving you a moment.
giving you a moment.
Yeah. Meat donut. Have you heard of this?
I sigh because I believe you've already told me this, and I don't remember.
And it bothers you. I just remember it
out of my brain.
I
And you're gonna
remember.
tell me again, and I'm going to be.
Our biology is essentially energy in, energy out, right? We have to exert energy in order to get more energy. Like we have to find food or hunt food. But like it's like
I didn't feel it.
every mammal, or well, I think most mammals operate basically like a meat donut. We eat food in our mouth, and then it goes through the middle of the donut. But that shape has gotten more and more complicated over billions and millions of years. And now we have teeth to like better process the food, and then we have like the biology in the middle of the donut has evolved. Now it processes the food even better, and now we have like really good processing plant in the middle of our gut. We have like a many feet. I can't remember the actual number of processing. It's like a little factory inside of us. That's why you warm up when you eat. That's why you feel tired after you eat, because it's all the factory starts going up.
Oh, we got an ad, so
Thank you.
I don't know if everybody gets them at the same time.
They do.
All right, back.
I had a
the-
thing that was
the
supposed to
meat
tell me
donut.
when the ads were coming up,
Oh,
and
okay,
it
cool.
and it was not working. I ended up paying like $10 for it too, so I'm like,
So meat
Meh.
donut.
Well,
I
the
want to
meat-
see. I want to see those iterations. I want to see that lineage.
I want to see the first
Draw this out. We need to see.
the first iteration of the meat donut.
I want to see a meat donut with teeth, especially because I think it looks like some of my drawings.
You know what? A meat donut with teeth is a leech. That's what a leech is.
What are we talking about? Meat
We're-
donut leech teeth.
So a meat, well, it's more like a tube. It's not necessarily a donut. It's more like a meat tube. But like the concept is a meat donut. It's so disturbing to think of it in that way. If we're just we're meat with a hole in it, and the hole is where we process all of our food. And there's an entrance and there's an exit.
You know what I find amazing? We're talking about biology is, and you know this, where the intestines, right? The shit factory sits outside of our body, right? Like our gross processing factory actually sits outside of our good parts. Isn't that true?
Sorry, one more
Like,
time.
So our body, like where we process, like basically our crapper and all that stuff, it's the processing factory for our waste. Isn't that on the outside of the body? Like it's separate. Like your organs are all kind of housed together, but I'm pretty sure that gross processing plant, they knew like that it was gonna fuck up the neighborhood, and like it couldn't go into the heart neighborhood, or definitely not near the lungs. So they put it in like the industrial zone on the outside of the body.
Yeah, well, that's part of why we evolved to stand up straighter too. Because those that did not stand up as straight, all the organs were like crushed together. And if you got sepsis or became septic, your body would shut down. I mean, that's not related to us standing up straighter, but like when we were long before we were human shaped, like we did, you know. Yeah, that's another thing, Lodor, I was gonna bring up, is that like I don't think you're onto something, CP, but you got to think about the reproductive system being right next to the waste plant.
Yeah, but isn't that a gross system too?
It's technically a less clean system, yeah.
I mean, like
That's true. That's why I'm saying you're onto something, because like that's also a place where it's not necessarily clean. And for most of human history, it was actually normal for you to get an STD and just die from it like that. Like before, the last 100 years of medical advancement is insane when you think about it. There's a phrase that I love to reiterate, and I think I said it once on the program already. Your natural biology wants you either crippled or dead by the age of 40.
hey,
Anything here's the kicker. Anything better than that is thanks to science and medicine.
no.
Yeah, anything.
No.
Yeah.
No.
No. I said wants you.
What about fitness, meditation?
Well, that's what I mean by wants you dead by. Like, there's always something we can do to mitigate that.
That's not medication.
But that's also knowledge, though. like learning that doing a repetitive task gets you more fit, learning that hard work versus laziness will make you more fit, learning that meditation works, that's knowledge. That's something we had to learn over time. If you just like went out there like a madman and went feral and never saw a doctor and was out there in the woods, I've seen people in their 30s that look 80 because of how they've literally taken no care of themselves whatsoever. And then you think about the images of the peasants in the medieval times.
Yeah, well, but to that point,
Well, I love that you're challenging this because you're right too. Like you're right that there's definitely always more you can do to mitigate that.
yeah, because I also say that because now the concept of meditation, when I say those things as an example, your answer is like we learned meditation.
We
Now
did.
who's we? We understand, the society understands a concept of
Oh.
meditation in a word, right?
Well, this is of course the artistic side of me. I'm picturing like essentially a caveman. You know, they're just as smart as they have just as much intelligence as we had.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, but the Middle Eastern countries don't go to doctors, but I'm talking about medicine. You don't you can practice medicine without going to a doctor. Like there's so many other types of medicine. I'm I'm of course being very general with the phrasing, Loader, but you're right. That's Loader said most Middle Eastern countries they don't go to doctors, but they do take care of themselves based on knowledge that they've learned from other people. Like it's all about knowing more about your own biology and counteracting it. But like your actual biology, the actual like cells in your body and the way that you age and degrade, that number is going to change. I of course generalize the number as well, the age number. Some people, there were kings and queens that would live until 70, like miraculously they'd live longer.
Oh, and here's
things like that.
And here's an example of biology. I'm going to do this in real time, everybody. Here we go. Here's your buddy CP. I was born in 1979. I am 43 years old. Divide that by 7. That is 6, right? 43 and 7? And so
Youngster.
every 7 years, the body biologically rebuilds itself brand new. So I'm CP version 6. I am the 6th iteration of me. Now, what happened to the 6th iteration of me? I know I'm a beautiful work of art here. But so when I was in my late 20s, you'll notice when I take my hat off, there's nothing going on up here, guys. There's no hair there. So that started to go away. So in about version 4, somewhere in my code, it said, your hair on the top of your head is done, son. We're not going to produce that anymore. And this is your new version. So I didn't have hair. Around the pandemic, recently, I started, get close, maybe you can see. You see these grays that are starting to pop up? They started to pop up. So now in this build, these specific part of my hair, they're just not going to produce the brown or black or red. They don't get the nutrients, so they're
they're Loader, I see.
Now.
The Loader, we're sorry, go ahead.
So this is what happens as far as we're talking about, like the idea of biology and building and changing and the humans as a build. And I just wanted to bring that up as a personal example of where when you see things changing in your life, because you were touching on it a little bit, as you're aging, what is actually going on? Like you're a different version of yourself, and you can build yourself so much, and you can do a lot with health and nutrition to make those things come back a little bit to a certain extent.
To extend it, yeah.
Yeah, to extend it, like Space Viking said, you saw someone who was 30. We've all seen someone who's 30 that looks 100, and it's like it could be a lot of things: bad genetics, bad lifestyle,
or just sometimes it's bad luck. It's like, oh, they developed a debilitating disease at a very
it's unfortunate.
Unfortunate young age.
What some people have to endure. And then to the point of the meditation, why I was asking and kind of challenging that and saying like, well, do we understand meditation? That's
Yeah.
the deeper question that I'm
Oh,
digging into.
so
Do
thank you for bringing that back
like
up.
yeah, understanding something and actually doing it, and then actually understanding it, and then
Yeah.
getting the full benefit is completely night and day, man. Like,
Yeah.
would you say you understand body energy, meditation, like all that stuff to its full capacity, and it's a
Well, no.
regular part of your look? See, that's the thing. Like,
No.
that's what I find. Like, I feel like humanity's quick to say we have the answers all the time, when we couldn't clearly define what we're talking about, and we
Right.
don't practice it. So
That's
we're
a great
living in
point.
so human beings, we're living in a universe that we don't even live in. So I'm starting to think like we're fucked in the head, and the animals are a little bit more grounded, and I'm looking a lot to them lately, um, for my own self-preservation, because yeah, it's weird. Like,
So
what are we doing right now here?
who was the first, like the first, I'm picturing like a caveman, like just as smart as we are today, because our brains haven't had that much time to evolve beyond that. Um, the first time a caveman was like feeling really shitty and went to the top of a hill and just sat down and like the sun was setting and it's like suddenly he started to feel better and he closed his eyes and he looked inward and he felt even better and he's realizing, man, oh shit, this is great. So he's say this is the first guy to do this, or the first within a subset of a group, and went back to his tribe and went, guys, I felt like crap and now I feel better and here's what I did. And then they now every morning, every person in the tribe goes up and does a meditation. And then now all of them live 8 years longer. Now they're living to 48. Now they're living to 58. You know, they learn something else. Every year they learn something else. Oh, this plant made me feel better. It got rid of that pain in my chest. Oh, good. Okay, so we're gonna take that plant more often. We're gonna
Yeah,
use that.
or that dude just ate that plant and died.
Yeah, they
Wow.
learned that, oh, Jeff fucking died. We don't
Jeff-
know. He ate that plant and he's gone.
Yeah, and that's what created our system of rules. It's just
Yeah.
dude, you know how lucky we are, and like we never fucking stop. That's the thing. We've got billionaires
so much
shooting around
learning.
into space right now.
Yeah.
We never can stop, and that's why I get so frustrated at the end of the day, because it's like I think if we stopped, we have
Yeah.
so much and we've done so well, but it's
Can
not
we
enough.
just not?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
gotta keep going. Never
And,
mind the mess. We're going to Mars next. Father of the
Yep.
project, God complex. You know, like,
Yeah.
just killing it, dude.
Loader here. Thank you so much for your interaction, Loader. We that helps a lot for us to continue the conversation and add other layers. So I appreciate
Loader.
that very much.
That's the good stuff.
You have an interesting perspective. I love that you were born in '68 and that you want to have conversations like this with us. So that speaks volumes.
Yeah,
I work in the homelessness field, and I encounter a lot of people who were born the same year as you, who they've given up. You know, they think they have all the answers. You know, and then for many different reasons they become homeless. Like I'm not gonna generalize there. There's a ton of variables.
The story.
But the biggest one we do encounter is stubbornness, though. There's a guy who's living in his truck that continues to refuse shelter. He has like 10 different storage units. He's a hoarder. He's like, but my things. He definitely has some kind of mental disorder.
Dude, I'm so fascinated by that because I come from that, and like, how did that happen? We have had a disservice, folks. Like, look at what's happened to that poor person. And maybe it's inevitable, right? Maybe it wasn't the things, but you clearly see the things.
Well, it's the obsession.
The obsession, like,
yeah.
Dude, and it was so weird. I saw someone within, I'm not gonna say they're homeless, but they were being taken care of, and they were at a laundromat, and they were doing some stuff, and I lost my mind, dude. Like, homie was pulling out like plastic dolls, and they were like falling out of trash bags, and they're like talking, and you can hear him in the bags like laughing and stuff. And I don't. He was washing some like in the washing machine, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, what the fuck's going on? And people get so caught up with these these items and maintaining, and it's really sad to me when someone suffers from any type of mental illness or maybe even just a stress in life, and then you see how I get upset because I feel like the way our society has capitalized on marketing, it's exploiting. I mean, you can say that about anything, alcohol, any drugs. It exploits mental illness in people. It does, but like
Yeah.
that just seems unnecessary. I get it.
Yeah.
Substance abuse is one thing, but the obsession with identifying and collecting stuff, to poor guy. He probably had all kinds of money too at one point, and it
He
just
had a home.
yeah.
He had a home. He had a family. He had a horse and a dog and a cat. He lost all that. There's a lot.
That's what matters too.
There's many labels to that. I'm already saying too much about it because there's like, there's too many details now. I'm not supposed to like go too far into it. The main thing is that it's amazing to talk to someone from that age bracket who has an open mind and has all these really interesting anecdotal knowledge to give us. Like, you're right, the Middle Eastern countries, that was an amazing point. There's a lot of homeopathic medicine that is making people live longer, helping people live longer. There's a lot of, not homeopathic, so it's kind of a dirty word now. There's other ways than traditional Western medicine.
Yeah.
And
their medicine predates us by so much. And sure, what we've come up with is great, but I feel like there's not as an alternative. I feel there's a merger that needs to happen, and I feel that the
merger definitely
doesn't work. Like I think it's the way we've labeled and codified everything to not work for us, and it is very exploitive. To, unfortunately, like we said, like people who are struggling. But yeah, dude,
I do want to I want to breach another facet of this. So I've had many people.
Loader, he's not calling you old. He's like, I'm so impressed. Like somebody who could be your age could have some sense. This is amazing.
Oh yeah, thank you for covering for me, CP. That's true.
Bridging that gap.
Yeah.
Gen X brother. I hang out with. I just made friends with a couple that it's about 70. Like, you'll find at this point in your life that we're all on the same playing field.
Yeah, and you can find people from all ages that have that. They have an interest in having an expanded consciousness. It's not that like, oh, I can't believe someone at your age has that. It's more that like, I love to find those people in the world.
Loader, congrats! You didn't give up. You didn't sell out. You're a true Gen X.
You didn't sell out.
He's like, oh, anarchy in the USA. No, he still up for it.
No, I've seen Loader in SnowRunner. We've been playing SnowRunner a lot together, and that's I like, honestly, the best way to describe this is that I would have never guessed you were 68 or you were born in 68.
Dude,
that's like that initial, like, I just saw a human being. That's what I love about playing games online and meeting people online, is that I just see another human until I learn the details.
Yeah, once you out yourself and reveal your age on Twitch, like, people just start doing it. I've always found that. I usually don't try to be cool.
Yeah,
but,
I have nothing against the Freemasons. Freemasons honestly just seem like they were just an organization that wanted to be organizing knowledge and organizing other facets of. I don't know that much about them, but
I don't know.
It did seem like
you guys like do.
If you're allowed to say, I know some things are kind of kept a little under wraps, but like if you're allowed to tell us, like, please let us know.
I got confused because I called you guys up and I was like, I needed some chimney work done, and you guys were like, "What?" And I thought you were gonna come and fix my stuff for
Oh,
free.
you thought they were. Oh, is it
Freemasons,
a?
right?
Oh, God damn it! God damn it,
Guys, fix my
CP.
stuff. Come on, Freemason. I got some concrete work to do. Buddy.
No, not
Oh,
that. I mean, maybe originally they
come
were also Masons, if I'm remembering the info
on.
correctly. Here's.
They have a lot of time to think about things and have existential conversation because they work for free. That's what I
Oh my
heard.
goodness. No, I guess my main thing is it on as a political? The main ask I have is it a political organization or is it more like a
Different,
um
man.
it's
But
I know it's not a cult and I know it's not a political party.
no, it's not a cult. He said he didn't want to.
No, there's like I know other people in the Masons that they've explained that to me, but I don't know what it's like what the goal is. Like, is it to gather like-minded people? Is it to provide another place where you store and protect knowledge that
I
isn't?
thought I thought you guys were just a counterculture, like
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so
trying to be, right?
it's not political or religious then. So
Yeah,
it's
you're like a
purely.
fraternity, right?
Oh, that's
Like
right.
a
It's a society. Yeah, it's like a.
you're like people that like probably have like-minded views. Do you do like what do you guys do with that though? Do you do you just sit around and bullshit or do you like do like community work? I mean,
Yeah,
I would imagine.
is there a philanthropic side to it? I'm just curious about like
So,
what
I'm thinking
separates
of
it
Charlie
from what
on my
separates it from just being like a club? Like oh, these are just some dudes who all agree that they are in a club and they make a jacket and they make a symbol for it. Like a lot of charity work. Okay, that's awesome. Okay, so the Freemasons do a lot of charity work. That's really cool. Um, I don't want to get too deep into this because I do want to stay in our subject.
Yeah, well, we'll revisit this with you on another time. Maybe we can talk more about that in a larger topic as it applies to coffee and contemplation.
Yeah. I mean even I've been doing interviews of people who are like well known in certain circles on certain topics. So if you ever want to come on and either over voice or voice and video, you're welcome to come on and we'll interview you on it. If you want to do a whole episode, we could do that too. Let
Okay,
me
let's
bring
see.
this up here. It is now time for the deep dive.
We're already into the deep dive.
We're into it. We're in the deep dive. It's been about an hour.
You know what this is. We'll have graphics and music probably and the whole thing.
Oh, I see,
We're just,
Loader. I see.
we're
Right,
just
so
doing it.
we're going into the deep dive. So this is like where we get a little bit how to say we're getting metaphysical. The deep dive is all about getting metaphysical with it. So
Yeah.
we got our biology. We have our cells. We have the cells that make up our organs, and our organs all talk to each other, and everything. Our brain is a ball of squish that shoots electricity through it, and that creates the ability to do what we're doing right now. Yeah, I can transfer. I can
Welcome to your
transfer.
trial,
I can transfer ideas from inside of this squish thing into your squish thing because you developed the rules in your squish thing to understand what my squish thing is creating. Like
Yeah.
that's goddamn magic when I really break it. Like that's fucking like I across you're over
That's
in
magical.
you're over in Maine and I'm in
Yeah.
New Hampshire and I can transfer a thought into your brain using sound waves that my face hole makes.
I know that you don't even actually make because this has all been processed through technology.
I mean, when you to answer
Like,
Loader's
we're not actually
question,
talking to each other.
it is, but we don't know why. Like that's the scientific problem is that we've measured the electrical signals. Sorry, CP, finish your thought before I answer Loader. I didn't mean to interrupt.
I'm looking up a pig.
Okay, so we've like scientifically measured that it is electrical signals. and they just recently found what they think could be the soul, but they don't know the why. Like it's a very specific part of the brain that is shooting off electrical signals in a very specific way, and they're like, oh, that's weird. That's not doing anything at all. Like they were like, that's very strange because that's not actually activating any like biological function. And they're like, that could be us, like that little flash there, and that was like a split second of a split second.
What's that called?
That's true.
They
Like,
have
what
a,
if we haven't learned the science? That's
they have
true.
a,
Huh?
well, I mean, we have to figure too, like, this is the other side of it that I get into. We're assuming, right, that science is right
Oh,
because
that's a whole nother episode, CP.
well, I know, like, because we're using this is a contemporary argument when it's like, well, I don't believe in religion. I use science because science is right and because it's proven. But science
It's a system.
is a system.
It's a system, and it
And it
like
has its
science proves
rules.
itself wrong all the time. And if it ever proves itself empirically right, there's actually something wrong with the system. This is like my favorite thing about science is that it proves itself wrong all the time. And you can tell a true scientist from a fake one or a scientist who's been bought by how firmly they stand in their argument. If they stand so firmly that they are ignoring facts being thrown at them that have already been proven, then they
Advisors.
probably the biggest thing about it is that you need to be ready to be wrong, and you need to be ready to accept that the wrong answer is now the right answer. Like that's what
Now,
science is about. Like you need to
yeah,
like, and it's constantly changing.
and now we're getting to that thing that I talked about earlier,
Yeah.
where I talk about inherently how the structure of capitalist consumer-based society throws it all
Yeah.
because that whole because now you're looking for information. We're looking for like an intellectual conversation, and
Yeah.
then you walk up to the scientist and you're like, hey, blah 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 blah, and then they tell you a bunch of stuff, and you're like, that person's a scientist. They're reputable. They have their degree.
Yeah.
But what if you just said? What if they're completely bought and paid for? They just spread the
That's
wrong thing for the sake of their own wallet,
and that's the
and
problem with
the truth.
that's the problem with TikTok right now is if you're just mindlessly scrolling and someone's like, "Hey, I know what I'm talking about because of this. Here's here's like 3 minutes of info." And then you go, "Oh, that sounds about right." And you keep scrolling, you never check the source. You've just created a reality in your mind based on what this person says, right? That's dangerous. That's so dangerous.
The problem with TikTok is the fact that we're not on it doing the pretty girls walk. That's what's wrong with it. But I have heard
That's
a
what's
lot
wrong with
of
TikTok.
controversy about TikTok. I mean, TikTok's reforming the government. That's why. I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy. Because it's such a viable source of income for complete nonsense, and it's capitalized by people of the youth. Like, can you imagine? Like, do you know how this structure works? Hey, anyone understand how this whole structure works here? It's basically a bunch of people who are older than us, and they control everything all the time, and they capitalize on us and make a lot of money.
Yep.
And so that's the system. But what happens if all of a sudden it flips? And the rules of it and the governing and the business side of it all goes into a different type of space. And then it's harder to monitor. And then the people who are the benefactors are the generations that are far younger.
Yeah.
And there's like billionaires flying around in space. You can imagine what these guys like running the system, the corporate people, the people in Congress that are like, shit, man, we're losing hold of these reins.
Yep.
And they are. The world is changing too significantly. So I can understand, oh, yeah, TikTok, a lot of conspiracy theories around it. But I think at the end of the day, call me cynical, call me whatever. I just think it's about money.
Yeah.
Everybody wants a piece of the fucking pie. That's and I wish it wasn't that, but it's I want to live this second half of my life differently. And that's why we are part of the reason why I really like doing this is just thinking about things differently. But when you question things and you ask about what is meditation, do we understand it? How much of our bodies do we understand? On the sixth iteration of myself last year, I found out probably 10 different things that I can do with my body that I didn't know I could do.
Oh,
Like breathing wise, how I push energy around. I'm this age,
yeah.
and why did I learn it now? Because it's not inherent. Like people have to put in the work and they have to learn things and they have to apply things. But the
Yeah.
idea of just knowing that things are good, I think it's a large distraction, and there's a lot of stuff that keep us from the truth,
True.
and I think our society helps keep us distracted, but you know, we're products of that society, and my ping pong mind, I'm so glad that it's starting to finally rein in and I can ground myself and understand things that I have never understood about myself, because wow, for the first half of my life, I didn't think I could even do half of the stuff I could do, not even let alone try it. I didn't psychologically think I was
Did
allowed to.
you think though? Like that's another thing. Like for a large part of your life, was it autopilot?
Never,
That's another good
never stopped,
question.
dude.
Yeah.
It's a gift and a curse.
1
I
second.
just, yes. Oh, Cyber Wolf! You talking about me? I am.
That's a palate cleanser and a half. We're spending billions to do what the Mayans did without science. Yeah, the Mayans also had time. Like,
I'm so busy. I'm so busy talking to my
no,
friend on
it's
the
not.
internet.
It's not. I'm so busy. It's we work a 40-hour work week when our ancestors worked a 16-hour work week.
Yeah, we also spend how much TV did you watch last week? How much
Yeah,
internet did you
I'm.
watch?
I'm also like the thing about the. That's mostly a joke, Loader. Sorry, that's something that has been floating around social media a bit, that when you only had the daylight to forage and to hunt, and like the work, like that was when you worked, when you had light. And like if you're going to work by candlelight, it's going to be all like contemplative kind of stuff. It's going to be like you're writing your scrolls, you're mapping out the stars, you're sitting around the campfire talking to people. I don't know if that stuff would feel like work in a tribal society. I have no way to know for sure. But like like that's another thing, Loader. If you have watched a couple of the other Coffee and Contemplations, sometimes I'll say things matter of factly as a joke because of how outlandish it is.
Yeah.
I like to have the disclaimer that we're not experts, and sometimes it's fun to think about things in a exaggerated way.
Talk a lot of shit, and
Talk a lot of shit. Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of figuring stuff out, because
Like
I
that's
I
one of
find the
those
way
things
I
that
find that's the way people discover things, is either talking or writing about it. Anything you do in your head is tough. It's only conceptual, and from the point of view of someone who draws, don't ever think you're going to dig out that idea that's in your head and it's going to be exactly that, because it's not real.
yeah.
It's an amalgamation of thought. It moves around. It doesn't exist, and people are like, I want to draw
Oh,
a dragon doing
Yeah.
this and that. No, it doesn't exist. You have to put it. You have to make reality and then carve into the reality and see what you have
yeah.
there.
Loader,
But
share it.
until it becomes something, then it doesn't mean anything. So I always play with the idea of people's accountability, and a lot of people have a lot of things to say, and they have no application. So it's like, or even any reason to even have it in their lives, other than they maybe want to be contrary or adversarial to it. And it's like, why? Like, we're not fighting a great war here. We may be at some
Yeah,
point,
well,
but it's like,
that's kind of like why Coffee and Contemplation is so great, is that I want us to
yeah,
all learn together. So when I like say something
yeah,
all exaggerated, like I do want you to challenge me. I want you to say LOL what? So I can like double back and be like, "Hold on, I'm doing that thing I do." And
yeah,
I didn't explain it. And I'm learning something about myself now of like, "Oh, wait a minute. This is something that I thought was a funny idea if it were true. And now I'm in a public forum answering it as if I know. It's like, wait a minute.
Well, Loader knows more than anyone, being a seasoned person. No,
Seasoned like paprika?
Yeah, like paprika. That
Sorry, I had to throw a wrench in that for
you
you.
got a little bit of basil up on that Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean? I like a little bit of paprika with my Gandalf.
I can't remember if Loader. Did you explain that it's not a Lord of the Rings? It's something else, isn't it? I thought it was.
King of the Rings, brother.
Is it
2001 when it came out, right?
So what if are you saying Atlantis? Oh yeah, Atlantis. Atlantis didn't sink but is moving through time in the Bermuda Triangle to a future date. And it's just out of time phase, and when the field fluctuates, that's why we have the problems there. Oh yeah, the missing ships, the missing planes. They still haven't explained that, and I don't think they want to. Oh yeah, Last of the Outrageous Rebels. That's what it's from.
Oh.
So
Lord of the Rings, yeah, it should be all capitalized, right?
We don't know what's happening in the Bermuda Triangle, but so I'm
in it. I'm in it, dude.
I'm gonna reel us back in once more.
We're still diving, dude.
We are still diving. So Loader breached the subject of we don't actually know what consciousness is. We don't even know how the meat inside our skull communicates with itself even. We just know that it's electrical signals. We can measure that, but we can't really measure why the pattern of electrical signals equals Matt Crafton. Why does your pattern of electrical signals equal CP Sketch?
Yeah.
Why are our patterns so different that sometimes I'll say something and you have to put your your head in your hands and go, what the hell is this guy talking about? Or like, why is he saying these things? I can't handle.
I love it, dude.
I know, but I love that, like the reactions, like the what makes us us, like it's fucking the biochemical solution of neurons firing in a certain order. Yes, that's what we've learned that it is, but
Man,
we don't know.
You just had such a drunk moment. You're like, yeah, you and I, it's, fucking.
Had a what? A what moment?
Like a drunk moment. You're like, yeah, I don't know how we interact and we're together. It's like, fucking. Like
it's wild, man. And Olivia, we're currently in the deep dive, and like, you're not a biological failure. I wanted to express that. Sorry, it'd been a while back that you said that. No, you're not. There's no such thing.
Great in their own ways. Maybe we don't get it. Something, but hey, we're cool. Like people don't like freckles, but freckles are becoming popular. Everyone wants that smooth, clean skin.
I always thought there was a very
right.
If you are sexually attracted to smooth, clean skin, then there's something off.
Well, you've been conditioned.
Yeah.
To love. Friggin'. Yeah, I don't want to get into it. Anyway.
Yeah, that's deep. It's a whole nother subject. We'll do sexuality on a different one.
Oh, we're gonna do an After Dark one?
We could do an After Dark special of that, because like
we'll save that one for when we get a Patreon, because
we still need to do a bonus segment for this week, so we could always touch on that. So we are going to be setting up a bonus segment. Either it's going to be based on Twitch sub. If you like do a tier 3 sub, you'll get the bonus segment. Or if you subscribe to the Patreon, either way, we could do that. Yeah,
we're just starting to create lots of different.
Loader, I can't tell if you're making a joke there or not.
Huh?
Okay. I was like, I need to analyze that for a second. And Olivia, I don't know if you're even still here. But welcome to Chime In. This is an interactive podcast. We are into any and all interaction. It looks like she vominosed. That's all good.
We started a little late.
We did.
We usually start every Friday at about 10 o'clock. And yeah, we talk about different subjects. Today we're talking about biology. So why do you want to talk about biology? Where
So
we headed with this?
one thing that some actual trustworthy scientists, I'm gonna preface this with that, some trustworthy scientists found out that
Some name
your
brands.
your gut biome in your digestive system is actually more responsible for serotonin than your brain is.
A gut is
Your gut is. Yep.
bacteria.
So if you eat crappy food, you're going to be depressed more often.
What's crappy food?
Stuff that can't produce serotonin. There's a list online. Hold on, let me look it up.
Yeah, let's get the diet.
Yeah.
We're gonna get our new diet today. This is what we're all supposed to eat, folks. Today's the day.
It depends on your own gut biome, of course. There's always everything can be bad for you. Honestly, if you like don't snack too much, make your own food. You know, fast food will kill you. Make your own food and try to find ingredients that you like, of course, that you like, but you know, natural, local ingredients. You're gonna be better off than most everybody. Those are the like non-expert facts, but you'd have to see like a nutritionalist or even just do a ton of research to find out how your body works, because everyone's gonna be different. That's Loader. That's amazing. Honestly, that's something you can like. I wish I had a butcher near me.
Yeah,
That's one of the biggest. That's
a lot
a huge thing you can do.
I did that a little bit, but that is, yeah, my folks do that. During the pandemic, they like people were getting like half cows and stuff, like, and they got like one. It was nuts. But they're so me, like a lot of people like really love the comfort of certain objects in their house, and when they're gone, they freak out. And I have reason to believe a lot of people feel meat is an important thing to have on hand, and especially when times are tough.
Yep.
And my parents, oh my God, they hunt and everything. They keep so much meat. And like if I have like a chicken breast in the fridge, you know, like I might have a lot for the week, but it's crazy. Not that I don't not eat meat, but it's just funny. I just started thinking about that. Now me, if I run out of paper towel or milk, that's like me losing control of my life. You have an item where you've completely lost control of your life when you run out of it, Matt?
Um, Coffee.
Really?
I'm still stuck on like my day hasn't started until I've had my coffee, and I know that's a complete
It's your ritual, right?
like it. Well, that's the thing. It has become ritual. But I've recently learned, speaking of the mitochondria, like when we opened the podcast talking about the mitochondria, coffee actually will trick your mitochondria into thinking that they have what they have, but they actually don't. So when you crash off the coffee, it ruins your entire metabolism for the rest of the day. Something like that. So I need to. I love to talk about this stuff, but sometimes the terminology fails me, and I'm gonna mince words. And some of it's something I read at some point somewhere because I love to just read random shit. But there is a string of proteins that will not actually form properly because coffee blocks it. And the caffeine will tell your body that, oh, you have energy. And then you'll be like, okay, I have energy. So you're going to exert your body thinking you have the energy. So it all comes crashing down when your body finally realizes, oh shit, I don't actually have energy. And then now you have to make up for all that exertion somehow. So that's why they call it a crash.
Can you mentally overcome that?
You can physically overcome it. It's like drinking a lot of water will reset that. You know, so if you have a cup of coffee in the morning, it's probably fine. Just keep drinking your water. If you only drink coffee the entire day, you're gonna have a bad time.
I do that almost every day.
How's your sleep? it's fine. Everything's fine here. Oh, You have a chemical telling you that you have energy, and then at night you have a chemical telling you that you're fine. But your body hasn't actually said that yet.
An ad break. I don't know if anyone
Oh,
else
thank
is.
you. I mean, we're still gonna record if we talk through the ad break. We're just not gonna get interaction during the ad break.
I know. Yeah, and yeah, you just put chemicals on top of chemicals. Isn't that what we're doing now?
There was one week at work that I was dirt poor. I couldn't afford anything. I had maybe like 4 sandwiches. Um, who and I normally eat like shit. Like I have the worst food most of the time. But this day was weird because I had no money, so I wasn't buying coffee, and I was out of coffee that day, and I drank water all day, and I had like a sandwich for lunch, and I felt amazing that day. And I'm like, what is different about this day? And I'm like, oh shit, I'm only drinking water. But don't get me wrong, I was bored. My depression levels were high because I wasn't getting those little serotonin boosts from my food. But then I would like, oh wow, when I get up from my chair, I like get up very fast, and then I can go do a thing, and I'm not breathing heavy, and like it's these little things that your body, and like again, this is going to be very personal for everyone. So I'm just saying what happened to me. I actually hate all the diet fads that happen. I think like you need to find a nutritionalist and create a personal plan because it's going to be different for every human, like no matter what. I hate these like generalized, you got to do this. It's like no, you don't have to do that. You're going to find what works for you. Like
Yeah, perfect
don't listen
example.
to anyone. Don't listen to me.
Yeah. Yeah, perfect example. It is
Yeah.
just work because
Yeah.
what you said there, it's like yeah, there's people capitalizing on the idea of people's failure, where it's like I can't do this myself, so I need you to tell me. I need you to lift me up. I need your answers. So many people are selling books and exercise stuff, which is fine. Like and I think putting out an exercise video, like being that person. I mean, now I think it's all on the internet. Like it's a different world, and more fitness trainers are they're more like models. It's a different platform, but you used to be able to be a celebrity status, and you put out a VHS or whatever DVD, and people would buy it, and it'd be the trend in the '90s. We had the Taibo. I used to throw some punches, learn some karate moves. And then you have what do you have? What's the hot stuff now? Who's the hot workout? I mean, probably like some.
Oh, the biggest one right now is intermittent fasting is one of the ones that's the biggest fad. And that one actually works, but it's really hard to do in our society.
I actually do.
I like if you have 3 meals in between 10 a.m. and like 6 p.m. and then you don't eat till the next 10 a.m. That's intermittent fasting.
Oh, sometimes I just won't eat.
Like a Roman diet. And then like the new workout fads are honestly they're so ridiculous that it's hard for me to even think of the names. Like a lot of it is like just pounding tons of protein and then workout, and a lot of it depends on the results. If you're trying to lose weight, they keep trying to say it's a calorie deficit, but
Okay.
there's been a lot of pushback to that based on your body will go into a preservation mode if you don't have enough. Like I've gotten a lot of really good results by upping my calories and then doing what's called an exhaustion workout. This is what works for me. Is I don't have that much time to go to the gym, so I'll need to do 2 hours of gym in 1 hour. So I'll do what's called an exhaustion workout. And I don't break in between the machines. I go from one machine to the next, to the next, to the next. I'm like huffing and puffing, like I'm just tired as hell. Nope, gotta do the next one. Gotta finish my whole set. And that works for me because it forces me to like look at every single set as like I have 10 minutes for this set. I can do a couple. I can do a full set, or I can do a full amount of reps in a minute, and then I have 10 of those to do. So like it's really easy to tear it out. And I with that setup, I can go to the gym any time of day. Like I can go right before work and be all set. But the thing with what I'm doing with my diet is like I know what works for me. Like I get dizzy, I get irritable, I get hangry. I know my body. Like a lot of it is going to be listening to your body.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do both, Loader. Like I don't
I try to.
separate Sorry, I'm just gonna answer Loader here real quick. I'm trying to build both. I don't do leg day or like arms. I don't do like chest. I do my whole body. Yeah, you have to have more protein in to build the mass. I want to build some mass just because I want to even out my form. But then when it comes
He's
to
got
like, I don't want to be bulky.
He's got a good body, man. He's got a good thing to work with. He's tight. You could build a strong fucking frame, dude.
I have the like that's where my Viking ancestry actually shows is I do have
Dude,
I have the height and the shoulders.
pretty hard. It's pretty hard. I love it.
But that's also now we're getting into genetics and that's kind of circling us back to like what even is like you could be born with the worst luck. Like your body could literally just be predisposed to being bigger, carrying more weight, and no diet will ever work. Like there are people out there that have something in their genetics that is causing them to never be able to lose weight. And if they get in a bad pattern of eating, like say because of emotional stress or whatever, they may stay like overweight for the rest of their life because of the genetics.
Yeah, so here's a interesting thing that happened with me.
No, that's not a brag. You did that work, Loader. Sorry, go ahead, CP.
Yeah, 2020. I don't even know what it was, but I lost a ton of weight in 2020. And what I started doing is, well, just doomsday prepping, because we didn't know what the hell was going to go on. So I was like, I'm going to just start eating really healthy and I'm going to just start walking. I don't have anything else to do. And I had all the time to cook. And yeah, so I started just walking. I was using an app to make sure I had the steps in. I recorded the food, was conscious of it. And I realized like it wasn't really a diet plan. I was just using an app. And every time I'd see people after that, it was really interesting because people would be like, "Oh, what did you do? Did you go keto? Did you do this? Did you do?" And I'm like, "Well, what's the fundamentals of that?" And I was like, I told them what I did and where it maybe leans into. I'm like, "Yeah, I guess that could be it," but it's crazy. It's not like some get lose weight quick scheme. You know, it's a lot of work and time, and yeah, some people they have to go to different alternatives, surgery and things just because of time, but and what they're capable of physically, and it gets harder with age. But yeah, and then this year I'm doing it completely different. So I lost about 60 pounds last year, and a lot of it was just physical exercise. I didn't really change my diet so much. I wasn't eating as much because I started taking a medication for ADHD, so that changed everything for me. So I've gone to two different extremes. In 2020, I was eating 3 meals a day, giant meals, and I was losing tons of weight fast. I actually sometimes forget to eat during the day, and it's problematic, and I have to do a lot of supplements and whatnot. But that being said, you would think logically I would have lost a lot more weight over the course of last year, considering how much I had lost within just a few months in 2020. And so just ask yourselves, like, well, what was he doing different?
Oh yeah.
There was a regular amount of exercise. The walking was consistent, whereas I'm pretty physical with my job, but it's off again, on again. So I have these downtimes. But also, it just does show, like, when you don't eat, your body does get pissed at you and goes like, well, I'm gonna keep you relatively the same size, like no matter if you eat or not. So the body's crazy. Like you would think counterintuitively, if you don't eat lunch and breakfast and you eat whatever for dinner, like, oh yeah, you got to lose some weight that day. I didn't eat 2 meals, but I would lose more weight, like almost a pound a day. And I'd be eating like avocado with eggs and just like vegetables and broccoli and chicken. I wasn't doing a lot of carb and dairy. That was my thing because and sugar's poison. Once you take the poison that they've been selling to us in our sodas and shit out of your body will work right. But it's just whether you want it to or not, or you'd rather have Coca-Cola or something, like you get what you pay for, guys. Like, and you're not going to be. Maybe your body will evolve with all this toxic sludge and chemicals, but you won't be around to see it. So I'm going to try to do a little meditation.
Might as well enjoy it, right?
All those, yeah, enjoy it to a certain extent, but then, yeah. What do you think of that?
I think you're onto something. I think that's like you just need to find what works in your life.
Yeah.
And don't overthink it, don't overdo it. Nothing in excess is ever going to be a good thing.
Except love.
No, even that, like you got to have darkness in order to appreciate the light.
So yeah, that's the thing. Do you believe that? Because I was wondering that because of my mindset, my distrustful nature, and maybe it's ADHD. I don't know what it is. I'm trying to figure it all out. But yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't feel. I feel like that myself too. Like
Like you can have too much love. There's like you get to a point where you get dependent on it.
I think it might be because of the idea that I know I'm hyperfixated. So like what if you obsess over it? Or what if that's all you were
Yeah.
and you smothered? I mean, I guess it could be
I
problematic.
had that happen to me. Like I had to unlearn a lot of things because I was so supported in my life that I never knew what it was like to not be. So every time I wasn't supported, I thought I was doing something wrong. I thought there was something wrong with me fundamentally. Every time I wasn't supported, and I never learned to support myself. I never learned to give myself a pat on the back and like really toot my own horn, so to speak. And I never learned to actually like do that work. And I had to learn that. And since 2016 and on, I've been really unlearning a lot of shit because I was so like the blanket statement used all the time is the participation trophies. Like say what you will about that whole thing. That's sort of the blanket statement to use as an example of like I was definitely one of those kids that got the participation trophies, and I really wish I hadn't. I really wish they said you suck, get better, do better. No, I'm kidding. I'm like throwing that like
There's some truth in that though, because like yeah, I
there
always
is.
wondered because they didn't necessarily do that with me,
Yeah.
and then you were the benefactors of that kind of idea, and I wonder how it played out because I mean I it was tooth and claw my whole life, and like basically nobody supported or really said like you're going to do anything, so you're just left with nothing but doubt and everything in yourself. And
world
so,
sucks, so good luck.
yeah, this world's fucking hell.
I
Like
think
I don't trust anybody. You shouldn't either. Like fuck this place. Like that's parents. That's my parents.
Yeah.
Like there's
Problem-
no God. You're dead. You're dead. There's nothing. Fuck you. Like
there's no God. Fuck you.
Dude, yeah, my dad. He's cool in a lot of ways. But he's like, I don't give a fuck. Like, when I do
Oh my
those
God.
things to you, when I give you shit, I'm like, oh, here we fucking go. That's my dad.
Oh man, why is every copy and contemplation devolves into there's no God, fuck you.
God, fuck you. You're dead, you're dead.
Oh man.
Go to your church, but I couldn't be a good enough human being.
Loader, there's
crazy shit like that. So what?
Loader, there's
by your rules, and I can't go hang out with this guy at this church.
yeah,
Bullshit, right?
there's great arguments on both sides of this, Loader. I've seen many cases where it does impede development, and then I've seen many cases where you alienate people because of competition.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like a lot of like it's not about the competition though. Like I think they missed the point because this becomes like a argument of equity versus equality. Like too much equality, and you'll end up with like the participation trophy. But if you have equity, then everything just has been built properly. Then you don't have to worry about development being impeded and things like that. And that's another thing that I don't know that much about, but it's like always been really interesting to me to think of things from an aspect of equity versus equality. But what you're talking about, CP, is like very interesting because I did have the opposite of that. I had someone saying you can do anything. You're like whatever you believe in will become true, you know, like just believe in yourself hard enough, that kind of stuff. And I started to get resentful. There was a good like 10 years where me and my mom would get in some really intense fights, and I would say, I'm failing because of you. Like I would get really upset with her. Like the reason I'm failing is because you weren't hard enough on me. You know, I would like get really mad, and we've come past that. We've gone past that now. It used to get like you everyone argues with their parents once in a while, so it's not like news people.
I laugh because I worked with my father for most of my life, so it
Yeah.
took a long time to
Like I'm
not
like,
go.
did you have some
Yeah.
moments of I'm like this because of you, and like you said it to their face?
Dude, this summer I backed my father into a corner and goes like, "All right, here we are," and I terrified him. Like
Oh
it
damn.
still happens sometimes, but like at least at this point, I'll put up with his shit for a few months, and I'll be like, "Look, dude, I'm
Like it
here to
creeps
work,
in.
and you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts," because it'll stop
Yeah.
his behavior. My father's the type of person like he just
Oh
gets so
wow.
emotional and overwhelmed that like if you it sucks because like I don't want to do that to him because I know it's a product of like because he was abused, that's how people have to deal with him. It's like you have to be like, fucking shut up, dude. And it's like
Oh
he's like, oh,
man.
okay, I'm being out of control, and he gets it.
My girlfriend is about to do a birthday party for her dad.
Yeah.
Fully knowing, like she fully knows he's gonna be an asshole to her. He's not gonna show any appreciation. He's not gonna like be thoughtful or kind. Like she knows exactly how he's gonna behave at this party that she's putting all this work in for him, and she's still doing it. She's still putting the party together.
Yeah.
Like
What's that about? Because
like
that
that's like another thing about you still do it. You just said you still do it. You still go to work. You still have the conversations. Like dude, I do it too. The other day I was talking to my mom, and I'm like, ah, fuck, I'm doing it again. Like, mom, I'm sorry. She's like, dude, she's like, it's okay. I was doing my thing again too. I'm like, mom, why do we do this? She's like, I don't know. I think we get so used to each other, and she hit the nail on the head right there. Like we know we are the way we are, and when we get into these conversations, it just feels natural. It's almost like a comfort? Question mark? Maybe it's a comfort. And that brings us full circle. Like, is that a product of our
military because of his dad. Fuck you, dad. Or maybe
yeah,
because of your
like
dad.
was was the armed forces a better thing for your life though? Like that's also draws up the question of like sometimes our relationships will force us into situations that at first seem like, oh man, I was just forced into that situation, but maybe your life turned out better for it.
Yeah, I think, and it's tough too because parents can only set you up for a world that they can comprehend, and especially in today's day and age, everything has changed so much from when my 70-year-old father grew up, and the world that is around and is building up, the internet world, things like that. No concept of, and there's no. I can see there's no place for him in this future.
Oh,
I
that's
no, it's sad. I watch people.
it is
I
a little
watch
sad
people
sounding.
emotionally die everywhere. I mean, it's the empath in me. It's thing. I see their experience, and I just watch like people like, oh yeah, dude, you decided that you were going to check out a few years ago and not learn this because you were overwhelmed by this, and now you're phased out, man. You're obsolete, and it's like sad,
You're
but human
done.
beings have to do it themselves. He never wanted to participate anyway in society, so why would he continue to keep up with it? So it's like, yeah, it makes
Oh,
perfect sense.
yeah, we encounter that a lot in my line of work. People who
He just
have
off
like
the
yeah,
grid.
they're done. They're like, nope, we're gonna continue to do things our way. It's like your way. You don't know how to use a computer. You can't even apply for the programs that we're trying to offer you.
Well, that's fair enough too, because don't you think at some point, right?
I
You
don't
might just call it like.
me.
I mean, you're only in your 30s now. I'm in my 40s,
Yeah.
but at some point you're gonna realize. Like I realize at best, right? 43, 43. You know, it's about 86, 87 years old. That's when
Right.
Haley Comet comes back. That's what I'm waiting around for. I was born, it flew over my head, and I was like, oh, that's fucking magical. And I was like, I want to see that when it comes back
And
around.
now you had an
Um,
asteroid going over your head.
no, I didn't see it actually. I missed.
Oh,
I watched Mark.
but it was for you though.
I watched The Adventures of Mark Twain, and it was the claymation movie, first full-length claymation movie, and it really moved me as a kid, and it formed a lot of my sensibilities and imagination. And I go, that's cool. And so I've been romantically locked with Halley's Comet, and I'm like, I'm gonna fly a hot air balloon into Halley's Comet when I'm 87. So that's my life goal. I want to lay that out there. So I'm halfway to that mark, best case scenario, right? So yeah, the rules are changing for me already. I'm halfway through my life, best case scenario. So what do I owe myself? What do I owe you? What do I owe society? Like all this stuff is going to start.
Think you're gonna check out?
Leave?
Well, you think you're gonna check out?
Check out.
Well, I have a happier story about one of these people I worked with.
Yeah. No, and I'm not saying it's a good or bad thing. I think going off the grid,
Yeah,
is great.
Motor, I hear you. People are freaking out about that.
Yeah, not retiring in a sense where you're not working. I always think the mind should be active and going, because I'm biased and mine never shuts off. And I think that, yeah, it's fair enough if people had a busy life and they're around people, and when they get older, they want to go retire and hide in a woods and slowly drift away and stay with what made them comfortable. I find retirement really is a big reevaluation of childhood, and I think our generations started doing it way too early because of consumerism. I think I have lots of toys and artifacts. I got a Skeletor up there. And I'm like, what the fuck do I have that for? I think that was because a cultural thing, and it's everywhere now. But I don't know if I just want to give up and stay here with Skeletor until the end of time. Be like, it's just gonna be you and me. What do we got to keep going for? I can just ride this fucker out until the wheels fall off. Like, you don't even have to be responsible. What if you don't even? I don't even have children. I have a wife, but I don't have children. And like, who's to say I'm gonna even be responsible for things and homes and leaving inheritance behind? Like, I'm already setting myself up to where it'd be easy for me to do that. So
It honestly sounds like you're talking down a very dark hole, but at the same time, there's like, where's your boundary?
well, it's like no, I mean it defines. And I'm not saying check out as in.
That'd be amazing, Lodor.
I'm not saying check out as in off. I'm saying myself.
I know what you're saying.
Check out as in like not participating with the status quo of society, because I do and I don't already. I have a real. I'm into it. I'm collecting arcade one-ups, and I'm part of this thing, and and then I'm like, I don't care about any of it. I'd rather just live in my dreams and be out in nature. So I'm having a conversation between my priorities and values as I get older, and this year is going to be a major shift for me in what I'm doing, but it might connect me more with society. I might move further away. I let life kind of pull me in those directions too.
Just make sure life doesn't live you.
Life lived me.
Don't let your life live you.
Well, I know I'm the main guy in it.
Yeah. That's my new favorite motto is don't let life live you.
As much as I had kind of a tough start to the year, I
got an AARP card the other day.
I had a tough start to the year emotionally because I deal with a lot, and I feel really good that it's March now. But I have, during that time, despite my feelings, and not really being the top me I can be, that's what I try to do, or every day make a better version of that. A little bit of improvement. It's always been my life thing, make better just a little bit, but
every day
I was able to do that to a certain extent. And you know what, that helps, because I think in a lot of ways when I transition from project to project, I'm my own worst enemy, and I'm there to be like, haha, I'm gonna throw something in the way so you can't do this. And I don't want you to
Aha.
succeed.
I like
It's
that.
pretty crazy when I'm like, hey, dude, you don't know this about me, but I don't actually want you to succeed because I'm scared of succeeding because nobody told me that I can actually succeed. And we're just guessing, dude. We're faking it till we make it. So it's you and I'm having doubts here. I mean, your folks, they said, why even do it? But why are you being so stubborn? Why don't you just sit back? Why don't you just cash it in, dude? Why do you have to do all this stuff? Why do you have to think so much? Why do you have to work so hard, CP? Why do you have to do, that's what happens. It comes in and just starts saying like, yeah, why, dude? Why are you doing this? The little
Oh,
devil's advocate.
you're getting drowning in why.
Why, dude? Why? And then yeah, you don't want to ask yourself too many questions. That's why writing is important and drawing and doing things. I've been doing more physical things because they do ground you. They ground your thoughts. Drawing's been great. For just like it's been a meditative experience just to sit and sketch. Um, I missed it. I and I want to be doing more. I had bigger idea. What happened was is I had bigger ideas for how this year was going to start.
When
Huh?
you started this process, did it actually change your biology too?
Probably. Which part in the process?
I mean, like the
The
mindset shift.
yeah.
Like in the mindset shift, did you find that your body was speaking to you in a different way as well? It wanted to be healthier, I assume. I think that's like what I would assume it would do. That's what it did to me. It's like you want to live longer. So how do you live longer? Oh, I need to be healthier.
Yeah. It's tough, dude, because I have a real duality. I have the person who's like talk about being healthy. Like the COVID experience is moving through. Hold on. Hold on. Wish me luck, guys.
The COVID experience.
Space
No, just
Viking wipe
I
COVID.
do wish Emily the quickest recovery possible.
Yeah, she's fucked, dude.
Oh my god.
She's fucking done, son. No, because like the last time she got it when she went to Utah, the funny long story short, we avoided COVID for 2 years with our friends that we met on Twitch who live in Utah, and we met them via Twitch. And we're like, hey, now everything's good. Let's actually get together. We got together. We all got COVID.
Everything's good.
That was really funny. We laugh about it now. I was laughing about it then. Lisa wasn't. She was like, I feel so bad. I'm like, dude, this is hilarious.
Dude, this is hilarious.
This is a great story. It's just
So-
a good one. But yeah, now episode's got it again. We spent the weekend with Space Viking, and
I'm reading what you're saying. And just like with this being in a podcast format, I can't touch on every single thing. I am gonna have a section in my Discord for podcast topics eventually. That'll be where we can breach some more subjects. The aircraft mechanic stuff is really cool though. I love that you got to work on that stuff in the military.
Yeah, we naturally like to like chat and talk. We love this back and forth interaction. We'll tend to jump into things that directly go along like the line of that we're already thinking, and we both are a bit like scatterbrain. So I know I will like intentionally like kind of move through things, but we're trying to figure out if we might do we'll use the Discord for some later questions, and we might do a Q&A thing too for some so that everybody can participate. Yeah, I thought we could open it up at the end too, like how boards do, like or we could I think we could have people submit if you have the topic ahead of time, we could have things put in the Discord.
Oh, a submission. Yeah, that'd be great. A submission question or topic submission.
Yeah, we could yeah, so you can if you want to talk about different topics too, like we'll consider that as well.
Sure.
Um,
So did that?
but
I hope that didn't put you too off track, CP.
what?
Just
I just wanted to, I mean, it's a small chat today. It's a casual. We're you know, it is what it is. We're on a different time. I'm
yeah.
cool. I'm having fun and
I
just hanging
do.
out.
I do want to get into the very end of the deep dive here. So we were gonna look up so serotonin. Well, let me make sure you're finished what you were talking about, though. I don't want to. I'm not gonna be that guy. I'm not gonna wool you.
Hold on a second
Yeah.
there, bro.
Like while I look this up, finish
Dude.
your thought.
Oh, side thing. Did you know of the Jerky Boys like before that Dudesy episode?
No.
Dude, it blew my mind. Now, saying that, if you go and listen to the Jerky Boys, you know, Loader knows, you know, it's going to be really not politically correct. They were prank call guys, and they were awesome at it. And but yeah, it's really, I would imagine, horribly offensive.
Yeah.
At this point in hindsight, I haven't heard it in 30 years. But one of the Jerky Boys is doing cameo now, and he was just featured on as a voice actor of the
Crank Yankers. I knew Crank Yankers.
Crank Yankers. Oh,
Yeah.
nice. That's a good one too.
So, 7 foods. These are 7 foods that can boost serotonin.
Can I do it? Can I do it? Blueberries.
Hold on.
Fish.
I'm scrolling.
Avocado. Nuts.
Let's see. We got eggs.
Eggs, yeah, eggs.
Cheese. Pineapples. I'm not sure about the validity of this list because it just said tofu.
All bullshit, dude.
But
that's
soy products, which makes sense for mood based, but like again, soy can be pretty bad for you. But I don't know. It depends on who you are. Salmon, salmon, the salmon.
Salmon grande.
So nuts and seeds.
Only by D's brand though.
Turkey.
Did you know that? D's brand, right?
What? Turkey?
No, for nuts.
Yeah, it's the D's Nuts brand. I see what you're going there. I know where you're going for there. So I'm going to scroll to the bottom of this. This is something that I want to encourage every human being on this planet to do. Anyone listening to the stream right now, if you see an article online, any article, scroll to the very bottom of it. And here we have medically reviewed by Deborah Rose Wilson, PhD.
Yeah, you gotta start using that peer-reviewed section, guys. You can't be going on any.
Yeah, she was also an RN. I don't know what these other acronyms mean, but there's a lot. There's IBCLC.
What's RN?
RN is a registered nurse.
No, I think it's not right.
Reviewed nurse? It's something nurse because there's LN and RN.
You do because it's like
don't fuck with me. When I'm trying to, this is like the act. Like I fuck around a lot, but this is like serious. Like if you're gonna read an article about your health, you need to make sure that the person who wrote it.
Exercising now, dude. Talking about
the person who wrote the damn thing. All right, sorry, that was a different article.
Yeah,
this is medically reviewed by Catherine Marengo, LDNRD. Nutrition by Lindsay Modglin, updated on February 16th.
Church of Latter-day Saints.
LDN?
Yeah, Jersey. Oh no, that's the abbreviation.
That's LDS.
LDS.
You're thinking of LDS. My dad was a Mormon. I know, like
Space Vikings.
Huh?
That's what I'm.
SVP.
Space Vikings.
Like the long dick Space Vikings died off a long time ago.
Found one.
This is we're the girthy ones. All right, right, that's perfect. All right, this is officially the breath of fresh air. We're coming out of the tunnel.
I told you guys this guy was thick. I didn't know what
we're now in the breath of fresh air section of Coffee and Contemplation. Here's the logo for that.
You're in the girthy section of.
We're in the girth. Hung like a tuna can.
That's gross, dude.
Gross.
Holy fuck.
Yuck.
Yeah. I need to get more coffee for that. Oh, look at that. So here's the new title card.
Yep.
What do you got?
So, breath of fresh air. We're getting silly because we've gone on quite a while now, and we're gonna be getting silly here.
What do you think of this one? This one, I don't know. I thought about it, and this was a one-off, dude. Only one iteration. I came up with this one. I was really happy.
I want to breach this subject to the chat. Is this instantly readable? Excuse me, I just burped through that.
I think colors will help with that one because all fresh air and the breath got a little abstract. I was thinking of it breathing like lungs, like that's why it goes back and forward. And then the fresh air, using something a little bit more light and cursive and whimsical and movement. But yeah, that one got. I will say I like doing a lot of this stuff because this isn't what I am good at. Abso makes a lot of the logos and things for some of our other podcasts, but I mean, they're just so uber busy. Everything I draw, and it's hard.
Super busy.
How do you, and that breaking ground was probably like the 6th iteration. Like I probably had a lot going on.
Well, this is oh, sorry, before we get into the breath of fresh air, this is super important. So this article had them shown, right? This can all still be made up, right? Even though it says all this.
Yeah,
that's what CP was touching on. All this can be made up. So Catherine Marengo, LDN, RD, right? You click read more. It's going to bring you to another page. It's her page. You can see her education. It lists all that. Now we're getting to the, this stuff is hard to make up. Because now I can go, oh, the Louisiana State University. Bachelor's of Science. Dietetic internship at Southern University, Baton Rouge. Right? We can look that up.
We're not teaching you this stuff so that you can go on Facebook and be like, my peer-reviewed scholarly source is legit and you're bullshit. You want correct info.
Basically, if
reason to fight people.
If someone's trying to sell you something as fact, it will take probably 10 minutes to confirm or deny what they're saying, even if they have an article. They send you an article. You can try to find the source. If there's no source listed, that means that they don't want you to know that they don't know.
Well, I helped, it's like a perfect example. I helped this elderly couple yesterday call Best Buy and cancel an appointment. They were literally going to drive there and do it, and it was a snowstorm. And it made sense because that would be the logical thing to do when calling and dealing with a corporation, because I'd rather drive to Lowe's or Home Depot because I'm not going to call them because there's no point. They're going to set me on the phone for half an hour. They're going to send me somewhere. They're not going to not know anything. They're going to transfer me, and then they're going to drop my call. I'm going to waste my time. Happens 9 times out of 10.
Yep.
Anyway, this, oh man, yeah.
True. Loader. That's why it's so important to find the source of the actual info, like the direct source, because sometimes you'll uncover stuff that's like, wow, they don't actually know, or like the original source data wasn't conclusive. Like they only asked like 200 people. And to touch on what you said, CP, that's true. Like most of those calls will end that way. Now, does that connect to like looking up a source?
Yeah, well, so the thing is at the end of it, I sorted it out for this couple, and they're like, "Oh wow, you did that? She goes, how'd you do that?" And I said, I went and I said, I need to cancel something, and that's not a response that the robot wants to hear, because the robot algorithm doesn't want me to say I want to cancel stuff. It says, I want to make an appointment. I want to buy stuff. That's where it's programmed
Yeah.
to get me into that mode.
Yeah.
So you just say what you want. Third time's the charm. I don't understand. Yeah, you understand. And because you're going to send me right to the person who's going to cancel the thing for me. You're going to get me immediately to a representative. It just drives me nuts. It's a way, and it screws old people up because it's like they can't say, they say it, then they're like, I don't understand you. And then it's like they say it again, you have to say it. I go, say it 3 times. And they'll usually that's like the standard. I'll just say it over and over again. Or usually I'll just be like, cancel, 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 cancel. And I'll just go to it. Like I hate that type of
Loader,
way.
Loader, I'm actually going to save that. I'm copying that and I'm pasting it into the brand new channel on my Discord. That's a great one we could do a whole episode on that. That's amazing. They did kind of prove how a bee can fly, but it is still kind of up to interpretation. But they did some experiments on, it's like air viscosity. There's a lot to go into. Like that's a whole episode.
We have to find out.
Sure.
If little Nick Solinsky could have actually rode on the back of that bee in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. That's the goal.
Oh.
To
what you were saying, CP, I found with certain call centers, you have to say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to sign up for a new service," and then be like, "Oh," and then like just fake not knowing how to run the robot program, so it gets flagged as, "Oh, this is a potential new customer," but they don't know how to do the program, so you can talk to a human. And once you're talking to the person, you can go, "Oh, sorry, I was trying to cancel." And if they go, "Oh, well, I can't do that," go, "Oh, I don't want to speak to the supervisor." Then you skip the line using their own bullshit.
Yeah, it's a recent example about like how these are examples of society.
Yeah.
That we're at odds with our structure of people like us who are trying to find truth, not necessarily like some wild conspiracy theory. It was all bullshit. There is no God, but some kind of higher, deeper truth for ourselves because we, like for me, I hit a wall with some of this stuff, and it's like, well, let's move on. And it's hard when you have something that's just accumulated on you over time, and you can't shake it off. You need to learn a better way, but when everybody tells you one way over and over again, how do you make those changes? Like we all know we're a detriment to the world, but we're not going to reject how this long game society, it's too cool. We don't want to go walking around looking for twigs and berries and have to try things out again, trial and error, and maybe get ourselves killed.
Yeah, knowing everything we know now, but then like doing things in a more naturalistic way, I think we're gonna create a really beautiful future. We know so much.
I think we're broken, and I think we're trying to define nature, and we're separating ourselves from it. And I think when we try to sell more technology, infuse it with our biology, we'll make the connection, and we'll be able to figure out maybe where we're going because we forced people to sell it, or we're going to lose sight of it because we're like, how can you build a relationship with anything anymore, dude? Like even in the physical world, like it failed me. I loved so much of this stuff. I have a thing beside me right over the top of my head. It's this orange thing in the background. I've had that since I was like 4 years old. It's a fucking gas station toy, dude. It is garbage, but that's Lava Man. He's my brother. And I love that fucking guy, and he's gonna be there.
He's my brother. I love that.
Andrew, dude, that thing is dope. And if I can find I made art about him. If I can find myself like getting rid of him, I think maybe I'll really be moving on to something.
This is so bright.
But each one of these items, there are connections to stuff,
Yeah.
and then there's not. And what's really upsetting me are phones.
Yeah.
And I'm not going on like a tangent or anything, but I'm just using it as a point that the phone, look, it's even, I like orange. Look at all this orange, dude. It's my phone, right? I should be connected with this.
You love
Um,
orange. That's
we
Dig
got
Dug
an ad
colors right there
running.
too.
We've got an ad running, but
Right. Well, if it's something you want Loader to hear, then or our other viewers, like
hey, this wonderful brand new phone.
I just got a new phone, and
Yeah.
um, I'm doing a payment plan for it, even though it wasn't very expensive. It just included with my phone bill, and it is surprising how it's only 1 year different from my last phone. It's a
Okay.
2022, and my last one was a 2021, and it changed everything. Like it's the OS is all different, and then on top of it, it's like has less features and is a little bit more complicated, but then in other ways it's simpler.
Okay.
And I was astounded by the idea that if the battery in my other phone didn't have an issue, I would have never needed a new phone.
Yeah.
And that's what broke my heart was like, we're still doing this. I can't believe we're still doing this shit where you just can't put a decent battery in it because I'm going to buy another one.
They can. It's not they can't.
Yeah, exactly. They can.
It's documented. It's documented that we do it. Planned and perceived obsolescence. If you want, I mean, if you ever want to talk about this stuff, I'm obviously
Perceived
hot
one
on it.
blows my mind even more.
Perceived, yeah,
Yeah.
especially what they do to women, but now they do it to men just as equally. Like it was done a lot with wardrobe, especially shoes, especially with professional women. They would flip flop the styles every 6 months from flats to heels, which are completely, noticeable. So like they flip them around and they flip around the style. So now if you're a person in position, you're at the office, if you're not rocking those like the hot shoe, like people start to be like your credibility, like you're not. People like undermine themselves
The,
because of it. Because it's like
the
I should have.
iPhone thing
Yeah.
kills me. I'm like there's literally places out there, there's the date like on dating apps. Oh my god, like if there's profiles on dating apps where they will say if you don't have an iPhone, don't even bother messaging me or shit like that, right? Like it's such a status symbol thing. It's
This
fucked
is the
up.
youth.
Huh?
This is the youth. Huh? Well, look at this,
It's
guys.
not it's not just the youth though. It's not just
I
the
got an
youth.
arcade. Look at me. Look how CP's living.
It's not
I'm
just the
fully
youth.
exceed that.
It's like
I'm
it's a
fully
money thing. It's like an iPhone somehow symbolizes you being richer. And
Yeah, I'm
and
rich,
to
dude.
and I challenge that. I often say, no, actually, if you have an iPhone, I think you're like, I tend to think like, not in your case, you have an iPhone, right? You just said.
He's got to throw shade. You can say it.
I'm gonna throw shade because my first thought, if someone has an Apple product, as I do this on an iPad, right, is that you were ripped off. You got duped.
Living.
And like the only reason I have my iPad is because Best Buy had a credit card offer that made sense, and it made me feel like I wasn't being ripped off. I was able to pay this off in a year with no interest, and that made the payments much less. It made it make sense, right? But prior to finding that deal, I kept thinking like, wow, you gotta have two brain cells to actually buy an iPhone and be happy about it because you're getting less features, it's getting less powerful, you're getting less of everything, and you're paying more. It was mind blowing to me. Now I understand a bit that you can do payment plans and then you get your status symbol. And I'm talking about people that like maybe you like, how did you get your iPhone? Let me just ask you instead of assuming.
That's the thing. Like I feel like I've never bought a phone, even though I've paid tons of money for this stuff because I just do
Yeah.
it. Abso does it in the contracts. That's how we got the iPad. It's how I get the new phone. I mean, I generally hold on to it as long as I can, and I only broke one phone once. It had it. This is the funny part.
Yeah.
I never had cases for my phone. People would always say, "You gotta get a fucking case for that, dude. You're gonna break that." And I'd be like, "Fuck you." So I didn't. It's out of spite because I'm an asshole. And I bought this like really nice Otter box for my phone. And then that was the phone I broke.
One that had the case.
Yeah, it had a wonderful case. I put it ended up on the floor, and I put a shop stool on the phone somehow and sat on it.
That
And
would,
nope.
yep, that would do it.
Yeah, the box is gonna help that when it's screen up. So that was like in the pandemic too. I was like, man, this sucks. No good for CP. So
CP,
yeah.
I made your Dig Dug armor orange and blue.
All right, well, look at me.
You like that? I need
on my arm?
I need validation.
See that little box I got on my arm?
Yeah.
That's my cigarettes rolled up in my sleeve, brother.
Oh my goodness. So Loader here says, I used to work with the owner of MTD Products back in the 90s at their tech center, and he drove a beat-up old station wagon, wore sneakers and jeans, and I asked why. He told me the coolest thing, no matter what I drive or what I wear, will make me a dime richer, but being comfortable and driving what I like makes me happy. There you go. There you go. See that some people, I wish that the phone thing became like I just like it. Like, oh, okay, if you prefer iPhone, all right, cool. But then they turn it into like a
status symbol.
Yeah, they turn it into like a you're lesser of a human because you have an Android phone. And okay,
you're shit person.
I'm a shittier person.
Garbage person.
I have more features and I spent less money.
Depraved,
okay.
Deplorable.
Depraved. Deplorable.
No, I'm just kidding. So honestly,
but honestly, that's funny. You're just joking, but that's funny how that's exactly what they sound like.
I can pull it off convincingly too.
You can.
It's because generally I'm acting because I feel like so bad. I just want to die, and I just have to pretend to be happy. No, I'm just kidding.
Because that's acting,
no,
brother.
Generally not. No, you do. You learn how to like act a lot. I had to learn how to act a lot to deal with things throughout time, and the phone. Back in I think 1999 I had a cell phone. Can you believe that, guys?
That's really strange for your
yellow, like Motorola. My mom got it. Like I wasn't living at home, but she got like a plan and 3 of them. And we had cell phones, and I was the coolest guy because people didn't have phones then. And I would just be like, hey, like,
made you feel cool?
I got a phone. We can call. It didn't do anything, but you could call people.
That multi-stream link's not working, guys. Sorry about that. Yeah, I forgot to shut that off.
It was super handy, but then it kind of fell away by it, so I experienced that, and I didn't get a lot of technology for a while. It wasn't until ABSO came in. You want to talk about this guy living off the grid? I was basically there. She's like, "You have internet, cable?" I'm like, "Nah, I don't have any of that stuff." "Why don't you have it?" I was like, "I don't know. I never did." And she's like, "We can get it, right?" I'm like, "Well, we can't get that. That seems like a whole lot, right?" And yeah, she's like, "No, let's get internet." And so we got internet and cable, and it was like the first time in my life.
My wife wanted internet, so we got internet.
Yeah, when I didn't, I lived. I mean, it was. So to be fair, it was the year probably 2002 or 3. So like, the internet was different then. You know, it was like what, MySpace.
Yeah, it was.
YouTube was there.
It was a simpler time.
It was becoming what it is today, but it was like infantile. And like before that, the internet was like me printing out pictures of Tomb Raider and getting Guitar Tab. You know, it was like stupid shit. And before that, it was like downloading a movie trailer for an hour or something, so that it's like you queue up a bunch of movie trailers to watch. It would just,
let this video load. It'll be a while.
Yeah, it was crap, and We lived it. We saw those early stages, but yeah, I didn't have that, and I didn't even think that that was in the cards, like that I could have the internet. Get this, I didn't have a kitchen sink.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the cupboards set up, but the sink had been removed, and I set it up. The cupboards were there, but the plumbing hadn't been run to any type of sink. So I lived, and I just used the bathroom sink for stuff. So I started in life like really thinking I don't need anything or I don't deserve anything. I don't know what it was, but it wasn't until like even Abso came into my life to where I was like, oh yeah, oh, getting the internet's normal. Oh, I can have that too. Oh, she's like, oh, go to school. No, I'm not gonna do that. I graduated with high honors when I went to school. I didn't even think I could do it, but it was like, yeah, there's a conditioning to where you can get in your own way. Um, I I definitely have been there. So I don't know why we were bringing up the specific.
Well, you were talking about the phone and how you hate well, then we talked a bit about the obsolescence. But like I do think
Oh
we need
yeah.
to circle back a bit. How does this connect to biology?
Um, so circle back. So yeah, I brought in a lot of technology. Abso introduced technology, and then you asked me how I got the phone. The phone, Abso started getting cell phones for us because I think maybe she ran the cable earlier on. Or no, that I don't know. Anyway, but she ended up getting that flow, and then I was like, oh, cell phones are back. And then she's like, what do you want? And I was like, I don't know, dude. Like any phone, and I decided I'll get the iPhone. And I used to make satirical stuff about Apple Company and Steve Jobs and my art, and the idea of getting one, I was like, oh, this is what am I now? You know, I had a kind of a weird idea of, oh, I'm a part of, I sold out or something. I don't know what the hell it meant, but that was the first phone I got. It was the first operating system I learned, and if I do that, I will never switch back. I will never go Android, or I will always buy an iPhone because the idea of learning a new thing is so frustrating if I already know the system. Like I don't want to learn a new system on top of it. It just feels like a you talk about waste of time
I think
and not having
there
I
are definitely people out there that are stuck on the iPhone because they don't want to learn the new system.
yeah, they just know it. And a lot of it was that was what Steve Jobs did. Like he wasn't a computer guy to speak. He was a guy who could market, and he marketed uh, a very easy to use, intuitive system. And because of that, I've taught my parents a lot how to use computers through that
Yeah.
system. So I know this system, and as long as they get it, like I can do it. But see, if I start getting different things, and then I can't show them because my mom gets the iPhone too. So it's like
Yeah.
I've used it not only for my base, but I also use it as a teaching tool. So like I can't show her how to use an Android if she gets it. And I think she did one year, and I was like, Mom, I don't know what the fuck that is. And she's like, hey, I'm gonna switch back to iPhone, and she did. Now I can like be like, oh yeah, you just gotta press this button. Not that I
Yeah.
care, but and then to that point also this thing, even though it's orange, I hate it. I don't give a shit about it at all. And I have such a love for objects, and it's a gift and a curse.
But you
But
hate but you hate the phone.
but I hate it because I know I can't have a relationship with it. It's a whore. It's a fucking whore. And I hate to do this to you, iPhone and Apple, but you're here for a year or two, and then I'll put you in a coffin, basically. I don't even trade these things in. I think I've got some iPhone 4s in there, and they're little box coffins and some kind of mortuarium for moratorium or what mortuary. That's what I want. Yeah,
They never actually die.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't get it. Like they're
Like I have
my
a couple
parents.
of I call them emergency phones that they're fully charged and off,
Yeah.
and I just leave them places like in case if I need a 911 phone.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I mean, that that makes sense. Like I just I can still go into my dad's garage, the hoarder that he is, and see the black rotary phone. My first phone I ever used, a black rotary phone, and I see that, and I just remember being a kid. I remember talking to my buddy Rob on the phone, my buddy Doug. I remember my parents' waterbed, and yeah, it was the '80s. They had a waterbed. It popped. Mom almost drowned in it. That's why they got rid of waterbeds.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah,
The,
and
the almost drowning isn't awesome, but the fact that the waterbed proved its danger.
they suck. And they were terrible for your fucking back. I have crazy back problems. I had a waterbed for 10 years. Wonder why. So my waterbed was cool. It had dressers on below it, but that's a whole other thing. And the phone meant something to me. The waterbed meant more to me. It almost killed my mother than this phone. Like, this phone has no experience or memory with it. And maybe I'm old and those memories don't like mean as much like the conversation. Maybe I'm having a conversation with you via the internet and not the phone.
I do hear the way the youth talk about phones now. Most of the people in there, like the Zoomers and the Gen Z, they don't have an emotional attachment to it, like in the way we did things when we were kids, because we formed emotional attachments to things because of the way we were raised. Though a lot of it was you're not going to get love from your family, so you better find love in something else.
Oh, I love that, dude.
And these
me out for the day, dude.
The Gen Z is experiencing the opposite of that. They have all the love they could possibly want from people, but they don't care about any of the things.
Not going to find love in your family, so you better find something else. SP.
SP. SP?
323, baby. 323, baby.
I've altered the H. You approve of these edits?
What do you do?
I just made it more H-like, but I kept your theme, I think.
That H was so M-like, you better fucking stop. It was like an M, and I made it an H. And you can add a couple little swoops to it.
I can add a swoop.
Sorry.
Alrighty, Loader. Thank you so much for interacting. Thank you so much for being here. Hopefully we can catch you on the next one.
Yeah, have fun for hanging out. What the fuck does that mean? Had fun hanging out. Have a good day.
Hang day, fun have. Make good. Fun. Thank you.
Fun, fun. I need a fun.
You thank. Have good.
You thank. Have good. Workout gym style.
Oh.
Maybe this is the new format of the podcast.
You can alter the H for me.
Yeah, what's up?
You want? I just I'm not trying to that's why I'm asking. I'm not trying to
No, I feel that's very accurate to the experience.
Yeah, I want to keep your style in there though, and I'm trying to learn. I got to learn your style if I'm going to
the conversation.
If I'm going to digitize your stuff.
Let me see. Yeah, you can do whatever, dude.
I'm just like
you've already
making
it.
What?
Look at it.
I
know that fucking air. See everything he's doing. No, just take the little marks completely out of the air.
Take them out. Yeah, I can do that.
Take one out of the A and that one. That.
Did you already tell yourself this stuff? Is that why you're upset?
Well, I know they're all the glaring problems because I drew it for years. That's why. That's why I couldn't stand critiques at school, because they're like, all right, here we go. Find the problems. I got 50 of them. Can you find 5? I fixed 40 problems. There's 50 still in there, but I had to fucking turn it in, dude, and move on.
I'm not trying to insult you.
I'm glad I do. Like, you're doing all the stuff that I know is wrong. So that's really good, because that actually enhances. We're credible artists. Like, you're That says something about us. You recognize that the H that looked fucking like an M forever was still looking a little weird, and that air overlap lost the air.
I feel like this is one of the main arguments for digital art, is that you can remove stuff so easily. Like you can improvise.
Well, then you don't end up like me with like, I mean, here's the reality. If you don't, then you've got, this is pretty funny. You've got, here's one breaking ground. That was the iteration before.
Oh my goodness.
Here's the first breaking ground. Here's one that actually I forgot the N. It might have been a little high. Breaking Grode. I don't even know. I was like, fuck that one.
Breaking Grud.
Breaking Grode.
Breaking Grud. Yeah, actually, can you send me all of those?
Yeah.
Because I could make it breathe. I could animate in between all of those.
Get some pictures of them.
I think that'd be really cool, actually. So we are kind of ad hoc here.
Yeah.
So for Breath of Fresh Air, we basically touched on how our internal. Oh, there's a booty. In our biology is essentially a problematic need to boost our happiness, and we find that in things. Sometimes those things become garbage in our life, like phones. Like, why do we even need that? Why do we seek the validation? Are we trying to connect with other humans? Is connecting with other humans an essential part of our biology? Do we go insane if we don't?
For me, it is. Like, it's my top value, and I found it made me insane.
Even the most introverted person, I find, will still want a community.
Yeah, I think, we don't want to be lonely, and lonely doesn't also mean having people around. Because I suffer from loneliness, and I could hang out with a different person every day, my wife, everybody, but it's an internal thing that can make you feel completely disconnected. And then that desire can make you want to connect more. And then that connection can actually not happen because of the state you're in, and your desperation for connection inadvertently creates situations that disconnect you. And it's horrible and it's sad, because I know that's what happens to people when they get really frustrated and they take their lives, because that's why I'm so big on suicide prevention. I've seen it happen to people. I've lost some good people, and it's unfortunate that it gets to the point where it's like, I'm a burden to everybody else and not just myself now. And that's the real hard reality, when you're desperate to connect and you're disconnecting yourself. You see how it works?
Yeah.
And it happens. I mean, I'm sure you see it all the time in your work. People that they don't understand.
Well, there's
got somewhere. Some people choose it. Some people it's obvious, like what happened. Could be drugs, could be a mental illness, but sometimes it's just simply they don't understand. Like, I don't get why I can't connect with anybody and be part of the world anymore.
The prevailing theory that a lot of problems in our society right now are directly linked to a lack of community and an isolation. Like you turn to drugs because you're alone and you feel bad and you don't want to feel bad anymore. You become homeless because you're alone and you feel bad and you don't want to feel bad anymore, and you turn to other things that sap your income to the point that you lose your home. But you can't stand feeling those feelings, so you continue to.
Because like a lot of people will say, in that you burn bridges too with your lifestyle, because your lifestyle, if you do have a substance problem, and then like people do help you, sometimes you can burn those bridges by taking it advantage. Sometimes people steal, and then it's like the last family member that supported them, they don't have anybody anymore, or you hear a lot of people say like you shouldn't be poor, like why don't you ask your family to help you out? And it's like, well, what if your family doesn't have the money, and what if your family isn't there? People take that for granted, like they have
Mm.
grandma and grandpa and their mom and their dad, but some people, because of their lives, they just don't have anybody. They have nobody. They have no family, and so when things fall apart, where do you go? And there's major societal problems, and you know where I always lead. It's we made it, dude. It created a
Made it.
lot of problems, and we are evolving, and we are changing. I am not convinced that we're evolving. I think we're animals, dude. I think we're just animals that could make shit.
We keep forgetting that we're animals.
I think we're inflating it. I think we're inflating it. We're like, we're gonna find the meaning of life. We're gonna find the voice of God. We're gonna crack the science of the soul. Like that's everyone's. That's not everyone. I shouldn't say everyone, but people's legacies. Like things they want to do. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, we assign our own meaning, right?
Yeah, we have to.
We're creating whatever we want, and if your meaning is to assign it in a certain way and think you have to help or do this, then go for it, I guess, if it's helpful. You and I have found art gives us a lot of our identity and meaning and storytelling. And I take that for granted sometimes. Like, what if I didn't have that? Because there are a lot of people that just don't have an outlet. Uh, so, big promotion to getting everybody into arts and music, blah, blah, blah.
Art literally saved my life, so
I don't know where I'd be without this dude. And like, if I hadn't started drawing asses in February, I was, I was scared, dude. That is gonna be the savior. Like, how is 2023? I can tell people like, thank God I started drawing asses in February. People are like, what? Yeah, it really pulled me out of a rut. I had a lot of feelings, and there was a lot going on, and I wanted to do stuff, and I wasn't doing anything. But who knows? By drawing the silliest thing, by putting no pressure on this, I made an experience that not only got me drawing again, it made me revisit different techniques. It made me cross techniques I never had, and it made me start world building. And I think I've reached a level in drawing. I mean, I should hope so. That's far better than all my years before. And I'm excited, and I want to keep doing it. I want to do my Dreamers Arcade novel now, so it's good.
are you gonna start it as a novel? This is not a criticism. I'm just curious. Like, are you doing a written word first, like
Yeah, I said
prose?
novel, but I'm gonna script it.
Okay.
I'm gonna do what Amanda is doing. That's how I was trained in graphic storytelling, and I saw that she used that method, and I appreciate her showing us those books, because I want to create. Um, I'm thinking 8 books, 8 main books, and the 8 books. I think I told you this, right? Where it's loosely based the first 4 over my first 4 decades here. It's semi-autobiographical.
There we go.
It's all
There's
about,
breath of fresh air. I think I'm done with that one.
I like that, like sketchy, weird filter you end up doing.
Yeah, it's just a picture of the ocean that I flipped and mushed.
That's cool. So how do you do this in this program? Since I'm here, I don't have my pencil. I can
Where's your Apple Pencil?
it's
Are
on
you
my
just
ass, dude. I don't know.
Oh, I mean, you had one?
I have one. It's probably
Oh.
it's in a box. It's probably still in the box, but I'm renovating, so all my shit
Oh.
moving back and forth between 3 rooms, and I hope it isn't in a box in the other room.
You know what
But
helps
anyway,
my ADHD?
what?
is I create what I call a, you have your doom boxes. It's like the opposite of a doom box. It's like this is a no square. This is where you don't put anything here because this is your sanctuary of stuff. Like the stuff that you need in the moment lives here.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you what happened.
But I'm just wondering if that would work for your problem with like your Apple Pencil. Like my Apple Pencil, like my bag that I take to work is a no square or a no zone. Nothing goes in there unless it goes with me someplace.
I'm like meticulous, dude. I'm a
Right.
clean fanatic. I mean, I have this stuff around, but Abso is the opposite. And we've been together a couple decades, and there's been some give and take. And for the most part, things are pretty organized, but we just do things differently, and it's tough. This place is small, and we both are creative people, and we're always trying to figure out how to utilize and give each other enough space for what we need to do. But it's been clunky, and we started doing some remodeling over the pandemic, and then I started taking a different medication, and it changed everything that I think. Like it's completely different. It's like I'm able to access a lot more information, but I've recontextualized so much stuff. There's stuff that I just don't give a shit about. Like everything I cared so much about, like that was my life. Most of it that was the foundation of my life, I have no love for. So it's tough. Like I don't really like to watch TV and movies at all anymore. I don't watch anything. Like I asked the guy, and he's like, "Oh yeah, it doesn't stimulate you enough anymore." I'm like, "That's weird," because I used to be able to just fall into it and just be gone. And it's like, "Oh, that's the ADHD, dude." Like now you're just recontextual, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." But like so much stuff that what I relied on, and that was my crutch. Everything from binge watching shows to overeating and stuff. I don't care about. I don't even desire food, dude. Could you imagine? Like,
Wow. Yeah.
yeah, I don't care. Like, it's like, I like eating certain things, but a lot of times I'm just
Damn.
like, oh yeah, I'm like, you want to eat? I'd be like, yeah, I guess. I was just doing something. I'm doing a thing that I'd rather do more than that. 9 times out of 10, and that's never been a feeling. It rechanged everything. So on top of that, I was already in the middle of a construction, and I ripped everything apart. And I ripped my whole house apart. And I kept ripping my house apart. And it's still ripped apart. And then I had a little bit of conflict because the house wasn't getting put back together. And I felt like an outsider from my peers, my friends, my wife, and I was becoming an outsider because I was working too much, because this is my first year I'm self-employed. So I became fixated on that. But then I let a lot of my friendships fall apart, like, oh, they'll just pick up again in the winter. And yeah, they did, but I became isolated and I didn't realize it. And then the small interaction that I was having activated some post-traumatic stress. And I thought that like I was being criticized too much for the house. People were concerned about it, but then it became like parents and grandparents, like, see, you gotta get this shit done, you're a failure. And the imposter syndrome started to take over. And it just broke me, dude, for the holidays. And all of it came up. And then my grandfather died, and like all of the post traumatic stress came back again. And I was kind of fucked for a couple weeks. And I'm
Yeah.
starting to sort it out, but it's tough because I'm currently, when I'm like, oh, my Apple Pencil, I'm in like this torn apart version of my house I have to put together because it is deemed unworthy and inefficient to the new way that I live. And
Oh
then I'm like, do we
man.
even want to put it together? Maybe I'll just burn the fucker to the ground. Like sometimes it gets extreme and it's like, we'll just start completely over. I
Burn
never
it
wanted to
down.
leave this. I never wanted to leave this property in my life, dude. And now I'm like, I don't even care if I fucking stay here. Like, I'll come all of a sudden be like, I'll angry about it because it's like, it's stress, dude. There's stuff in me that's keeping me like locked. There's people that told me to stay here, don't go here, don't do there, and so much that I've done it to myself. And like to redig those pathways to say like, yeah, CP, you can do it is
Sounds like you
yeah.
need like a whole new life almost.
Well, yeah, you helped me. When you asked me what makes you look safe was a big thing. When I'm not used to people asking me questions about how I feel in my life. It wasn't how I was raised. People didn't ask like, "Are you okay?" They're just
Yeah.
like, "You better be fucking okay."
Like
or
you
your mom-
good?
Like they wouldn't ask me that. If you're not okay, you fucking better be because they'll fucking smack you around, dude. Like it was hard. Like you couldn't fuck up, man. You get beat to shit, And it's just it was just the old boomer way that a lot of parents did stuff. And
Well, you can fuck up around me, dude.
huh?
You can fuck up around me.
I know, and like that's the hard thing. Like it's still ingrained that, and I feel that, and that's why I fuck with you more than I do any person, because that's how you know that I'm comfortable with someone, where I can be like, I can challenge you, because if I was concerned and suspicious about you, I might try to lean into the people pleasing side of me.
Yeah.
Where I just want you to feel always happy, and I will take what?
Speaking of people pleasing, I don't have really more cough drops.
You got your cough drops? Wow. Check it out, brother.
What?
You got cough drops, but I got some fucking lifesavers. Husband right here. That didn't work out.
Husband of the year.
Husband of the year. But yeah, so there's that. But it's funny. Once I found out, like, I was like, oh, Matt's unusual. That's how I don't say that about a lot of people, but I'm like, oh, he's an unusual person that I can be unusual with. And this is the person I hang out with because I need to experiment and play and learn to be a human again.
That's all I do.
I'm this type of human.
That's,
I want to be that type of human.
That's what I like to say to people is I'm just an explorer.
Yeah, me too.
Like what are you? Well, I'm an explorer. It's like, oh, how about that weather? No, that's not. No.
Explore those weather meteorology ideas on your own. We are going to be talking about the human condition and biology, but so that being said, like unless I'm far less apprehensive around you, to where I can be a lot more myself. What?
Form your own opinions about the weather on your own. We're talking about biology.
You talk about the weather over that other podcast. I can't not do those Hogan moves. They're just so
go to the weather. So we're live, but we're officially in the surfacing segment. I don't care that we're live doing it, but like we're definitely like way off. So this is like whatever we want.
Yeah,
it's so good though. No, I love having this, like, I love witnessing your, I guess you could call it an awakening. Like, woke's become a dirty word, but you definitely are like.
Well, I mean, it's either like it's scary because it's like, is it good or is it bad?
It's either wake up or sit alone in the dark. That's my attitude towards it.
Yeah, but that sitting alone in the dark. I mean, I could just watch like old shows from back in the day and just shit. Safe.
There was this guy I worked with. This is gonna come off wicked pretentious, but this is like really hit home. Is that there's this guy who did nothing but talk shit about his wife and complain about home, complain about work, and I'll never forget his face. I asked him. I said, "What do you do when you go home?" He said, "Nobody's fucking asked me that before." That's why he said it. because he's a man's man, you know. He was like offended that I asked him how he spends his nights alone. And I said, I said, no, I'm just curious. Like you do an awful lot of complaining. I said to him, I said, you do an awful lot of like, you're unhappy with the world in which you reside. And he said, hell yeah, I'm unhappy, blah, 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 blah. And I said, no, how do you spend your free time? What do you do when you're alone? He said, oh, when I go home, I get my beer, I get my Crown Royal, and I watch the game. And I usually fall asleep while I'm watching it. And I wake up in my chair, come to work in the same clothes that I was wearing in the chair. And I said, and you're unhappy? He said, yeah, hell yeah, I'm unhappy. And I'm like, you don't see the problem here. Like,
Yeah.
I ended up telling him, you are going to be unhappy forever because you don't care about anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you don't care about anything. Like you gotta give a shit, or like you gotta create your own happiness. Huh?
That's that argument I had earlier. How is that guy convinced that that's life?
He's not. He hasn't even thought about it.
I know. That's the sad part. He didn't even have a concept of it, that it's not. It's more than just fucking off and spending money and buying booze and watching entertainment.
This is what I meant about the people that have given up.
That's what they want you to do, because that makes the fucking people rich.
Like, it's not about being woke. It's just about find your thing, and just give a shit about it.
Yeah.
Stop worrying about other people's shit.
And like that was the majority of my probably adolescence and early 20s, what I really struggled with. I was like, I'm not happy. And then every once in a while I'd have a friend say like, yeah, but you just hang out with us and you say you're not happy. All the stuff that you say you want to do, you just talk about doing, and then you don't do it. And it's like, so it's one of those moments too where it's like, oh yeah, I say one thing and do the other. I have the actual answer for me. Like that guy's like, I'm not happy. I go home, I drink and watch sports and go to sleep and go to work. Okay, so that scenario makes you unhappy. What can you take away or add to it to change? And it's like, oh, whoa, no shit. And like you asked the dude. People don't ask a lot of dudes of a certain age, and even my age, where it's like, it's more common now where you and I would be like, hey, how you doing? We talk about how we feel about things.
You want to know how uncommon it is, though? Like, there's something happening now in today's world. Like, it's happening, probably someone's out there making one of these videos today. It's a trend on TikTok. It's an abnormality in social media to go up to a person and ask, "Are you happy?" Have you seen these videos?
Oh,
are you happy? It is so fascinating to see everybody's responses, and I love the ones like a lot of them. You'll only see the ones that say, "Yeah, I'm happy," but I love the ones that aren't afraid to go, "This fucking sucks." I'm not happy. I'm like, yeah, like I'm like, yes, yeah, me too. This fucking sucks.
You fucked us up because you told us not to feel, and that's old man shit. And the world is nothing like that anymore, and we don't even know who the fuck we are anymore because of it. Because now we have all these people embracing their identity and their sexuality and saying how they feel. Like, dude, I just, like, you didn't say anything, or you got called, derogatory homosexual names and stuff in the 80s. Like,
I still do. I got called gay daily at my last job.
Really?
Yeah, because I give a shit.
What?
There was at least one backhanded comment said under their breath every day at that job. That was the most toxically masculine place I've ever worked. There were gems. There were people there that were like real gems. So don't get me wrong. Like there was some awesome stuff there, but there was definitely something to be said about their lack of like there's more. There's more to the world, and they didn't care. They didn't want it. They didn't need it. They had their crown royal and their big diesel truck, and they're happy as can be. And that's fine. Here's the thing: I'm not gonna bash the lifestyle, because like everyone's life is different, everyone's journey is different. But if your lifestyle is directly attributing to your unhappiness, and then you do nothing about it, I have no sympathy for you.
And I want to know, is Crown Royal the sponsor of misery?
Crown Royal is the one drink that everyone at that job, we got paid really well. Everyone got paid very well, so they could afford Crown Royal, and so it became like this. It became like a meme in the machine shop. Everyone was talking about Crown Royal this, and like, I'm gonna go home and get drunk, and I got the good stuff. They kept saying.
You see that? That's so fucked up, dude. That became a thing. Oh, that really hurts. That became an illusion. The people were just drinking in general, but then they're like, "Oh, now we're successful and we made money, and now I can get Crown Royal, and my status is elevated."
Mm-hmm.
Why do you still all work in the machine shop and you're miserable? No matter if it's Budweiser or Crown Royal, dumbass. Like, see how the consumerism part of it tricked them?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's crazy.
We're gonna wrap this up. I just realized what time it is.
I mean, they're not all gonna be gems, brother.
Well, that's the thing. That's why I'm building up some content, because there's a few that I'm just not gonna air because it's just like too. We just weren't into it, you know.
Yeah, or I just cut things down to clips too.
Yeah, we got plenty of clips.
We fucking got it. Just like this one. Thanks for joining us today. We fucking nailed this one out of the park. We stayed late. I was all over subject. I slept like 2 hours.